Blog Talk Radio.
Not my country. My country is me and my family.
Well, your country's also Huerta, and the governor, the landlords, Gunther Ruse and his locusts. This little revolution we're having here.
Revolution? Well, revolution, please don't try to tell me about revolution. I know all about the revolutions and how they start. The people that read the books, they go to the people that don't read the books. They put people and they say, ho, the time has come to have a change, huh? Shit, shush! I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the revolutions. The people who read the books go to the people who can't read the books, the poor people, and say, we have to have a change, so the poor people make the change, huh? And then the people who read the books, they all sit around the big polished tables, and they talk and talk and talk and eat and eat and eat, huh? But what has happened to the poor people? They're dead! That's your revolution. So please, don't tell me about revolutions.
Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
A palace in which there is no king or queen or dukes or earls or princes, but subjects all, subjects beholden to each other to make a better place to live. Is that too much to ask? Are we asking too much? Is it beyond our reach? Because if it is, then we are nothing but sheep being herded to the final slaughterhouse. I will not go down that way. I choose to fight back. I choose to rise, not fall. I choose to live, not die. And I know that what's within me is also within you. That's why I ask you now. Join me. Rise up with me. Rise up on the wings of this slain angel. We'll rebuild on the soul of this little warrior. We will pick up his standard and raise it high. Carry it forward until this city, your city, our city, his city, is a palace again. It's a palace again. Without against soldiers, against the war.
happens afterwards? The same fucking thing starts all over again.
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Yay.
It's just Robert's show, see?
Weird.
I mean, Robert, you want to do your show on my platform, you can. I mean, I'll give you the reins or whatever, you know. I mean, it's worse. Just tell everybody to call my show. They all know my number.
Yeah, we could just go over to your show. That would work.
I mean, yeah, because if you can't get a hold, because if you're not live and nobody can call, what's the point of doing it? We might as well just call everybody on our own personal phone, you know?
That's exactly right.
I could set one up on my end too. I'm kind of curious to see if I set up a show, if people are able to dial in.
Yeah, all the other shows are working.
Curious.
I called into the other shows earlier. There's other shows on Blog Talk Radio that I call into sometimes, you know? And they were all working. That's why I was like, oh, man, are they down now? But then I said, let me set up my show and see if it works. And it works, so. Yeah. Why are they just targeting you? When did you program your show? It had to be when you programmed it. Something got goofed up somewhere. Yeah, that's why.
After my show.
That's why. Yeah, because they were having problems, remember?
Well, not when I did my show, and when I finished the show, that's when I scheduled my next one.
Yeah. But there was a break in their their programming ranks is what had happened, because some other shows were having problems too. And remember, in the beginning, they were having a couple of problems. So it's been screwed up lately.
In the chat room.
Well, Robert, why don't we do this? Why don't we end this show and then we'll go back in and set it up from scratch? Set it up to start at PM your time.
Okay.
And then let's see if we have any problems. And
okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And then bringing up boys in the chat room, Suzette is asking to give her a call again. Her Bluetooth was on.
Yeah, but
okay.
For us to call everybody, that's silly.
Yeah, I think that would probably be a lot more conducive if we end this show, since apparently when it was set up before things went down on Monday, and that's probably what's screwing it up.
Yeah, and I'll just play commercials until you guys figure it out. I'll play commercials until you guys figure it out, you know.
Okay.
Or if you end this show, then Robert, you can set it up to broadcast now instead of scheduling it. You can just set it to broadcast now, so that once then you should be able to get right in.
I got Boyd. Boyd is this 907? Who's this?
Yeah, this is Boyd. I was doing a test call into your show to make sure that your show line is working. So
yes,
it is.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the show and reschedule it and try and get it going right away so I can get it started again.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, then everybody just call into my show then, because for us to call everybody, we'll be here all night. You know, we might as well just call it. You know, we're not live on the internet then. You know. Yep.
That's for sure. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and end that and start
okay,
rolling.
And I'm here on my show still talking. So whoever's connected here on mine listening right now live, because I know there's people listening on the internet.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna do. We'll go over to Robert's show. I'll end my show if he gets his show working. If not, then I'll just continue on with my show. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
And hopefully you can set it up to just broadcast live right away and not have to schedule it for 20 minutes from now. But either way,
I know.
We'll find out if it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
All right. So what do you want, guys? You want me to do? Play some commercials while he does that?
Yeah, play a clip or something on your end.
Play some music. All right, we'll play some music. Let's see here. Scan down here. All right.
your head if you're only asleep. You try to hold on to reason. Why can't you see that you're leaving? Our love for you knows no distance, but it can't fight your resistance.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like Ron Rex show there, huh? Hey, I'm a heavy metal type of guy, from the 80s and early 90s, So I guess I don't know if Robert's got his show up and running or not. They want to do all that entangled stuff, and they call people and everything. Well, it would take an hour to do that. Why do that and be on the show? Well, because you're not connected to the internet. That makes no sense. We might as well just call each other and do a conference call. You know what I mean? Instead of doing all that other stuff, it makes no sense. He could do a show on my platform. I'll shut up. I'll turn it over to him. I don't care. I'd rather not. I didn't plan on doing a show tonight anyway. Let me see. You got a private caller right here. Let's see here. Private caller. Go ahead, your private caller.
Hi, my buddy Joseph Gibson.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yes. Doing all right, Mikey. What's up? What's the word?
Yes.
Ask Mikey if you want to know something, right? Singapore, right?
Exactly, my friend. How is everything with you? I missed you guys for a while, but I got you back.
Yeah.
So first of all, we thank you for your great shows, and thank you for bringing all different views. And sometimes maybe we all have disagreements, but at the end, we have more agreements than disagreements, really. But
Yeah. No, well, we're still the podcast family, I guess you could say, that it just wants to fight for freedom, and just sees everything that's screwed up in the world and America,
Absolutely. Regarding the cyber attacks on the massive AT&T, Verizon, to Xfinity, to pretty much every telephone company in the United States and Canada as well, too. So, everybody, they're trying to cover their asses right now. They keep saying, it was a software glitch. No, bullshit. Please don't tell us that. Because nobody's going to buy that shit. I'm sorry for a little bit.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, but the bottom line is either it was Iranian Ayatollahs, they hacked us because of the we hit the Iranian proxies, and we are so stupid, dumb ass that we cannot believe that happened, or the second country in the line is China, because China is testing, because they are going to take over Taiwan soon, so they wanted to have a test run. But I finger point to fucking Ayatollahs, and Ayatollahs are responsible for it, and we already passed the law that...
Or they're in cahoots with China, or they're in collusion with China, one or the other,
Right, but mostly I predict, I say that because we did a lot of, still we are fighting with the Houthis in South Yemen, and still does in charge of still putting British ship sinking in the middle of the, what you call it, the Red Sea. So, I mean, they said that. They clearly said we will take a revenge as a result of that. And right now, 50 miles, tunnels made, and when they show it in the TV, it's full of the missiles and anything you can imagine, that they keep saying within 10 minutes we can put 10,000 missiles anywhere to Israel or to NATO.
Well, they do have a lot of missiles. Yeah, they're like, they do got a lot of missiles, and they got, but
we are so stupid because we let them build it. We could hit them long time ago, but we keep saying, go ahead.
But we got, so listen to this, Mike. We've got technology, right? If we detect a launch from them at all, we can jam all their missile triggers, all their triggers to and their systems. When they're set to launch, it goes through a system check, I know it's quick. Sometimes it's within like 15 seconds, but because they sell a lot of missiles, they got to prep, get ready, boom, they get ready to go and launch. Yeah, they're quick to launch, but we can jam them from a satellite. We can jam a lot of them. So we got technology that blow your mind,
Yes, I hope so. I hope so that.
I know it. I speak to people in the military all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that it's possible, a very possibility, because this. I mean, it's World War III starts from Iran. There's no question about it. And then,
I know.
As a result, then it will. Then Russia will take care of the Ukraine and other places that they want to, and China will take care of Taiwan, and North Korea will take care of South Korea. So then it's like a domino effect. But the first domino effect is Iran. Iran, Ayatollahs, because we let them. 47 years almost, we could take care of them and bring freedom and justice to people of Iran. But unfortunately, today we see that they sent all the money from Iran.
Can there
from
ever
the
be
oil.
that way, though? Do you think it ever can be that way? Even if Iran do support Americans, or if there's no animosity, the corrupt leaders and the rich people and the Ayatollahs and these Muslim brotherhoods that are high up in ranking, they hate America. And they'll never allow that. They'll always be out there. It's like ISIS. It may have disappeared or been, is dormant right now. But Al Qaeda, there's no such thing. That's a computer program. That's a fake name. But ISIS, though, that was a legitimate group. That was look at all the Christians they were slaughtering and murdering. Now they've been dwindled down to nothing. But they're still in the shadows, and they'll rise up. And whenever they get a chance. So will there ever be peace in the Middle East? Will there ever be peace where those people, the powers to be would like us?
But the question is, we need to give a little bit jump ahead to Iranian public, Iranian masses, that they hate Ayatollahs from their gods. They are not Muslim anymore. And as soon as freedom comes, they will become Christians. Majority of them, and they hate Shiism, they hate religion of Islam because they saw that what Islam did to them, and to the country, to the people, and the laws of
the economy, that too,
economy. The laws of
hang on, Mike. Hey, Boyd bring in Boyd and everybody else. Is conservative radio, is he up and running? Is it working for him, or are they still messing around with it?
It's supposedly going to be another 10 minutes or so, but I got a notification, and when I went to the notification, and hit on it for the new show, it came up blank. So I'm going to I'm going to hold for a little bit. And I may not be able to get the page, but I might be able to at least get a phone call in here in a little bit.
Yeah, okay. All right, because if his phones are, why keep messing with it, You're just wasting time. An hour already, if it's not working, it's not working, Makes no sense.
Yeah, well, I don't know, Joseph. I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to try and get the show up and running. So once it starts, he's gonna have his 2 hours, and then the bonus hour.
Yeah, that's
so
fine. If it works,
it works. Yeah, I'm just sitting back to see if it works or not.
Yeah, I got Mike here from Singapore on here with me right now, and then I got 214 putting their hand up. Go ahead, there, 214.
This Gunslinger.
Hey, Gunslinger.
Yeah, I tried to call in on the other show there, and my cell wouldn't even connect, or Skype wouldn't even connect.
Yeah, I know his lines are down for some reason. It's because of that cyber attack.
Yes, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Yes, last week our brother, who is a Christian, and he has a program about Islam. And Usama Daduk, everybody know from the other patriotic friends, and it was Saturday, and it was from that time PTR went kind of blank for 2-3 days.
Oh, retaliation! The retaliation. So
it was from that time we knew something is going to happen, and it's like it happened. So whenever the show is about Islam, especially to tell the truth.
Well, I'm going to start doing shows about Islam then. I'm going to start doing it about Islam. I want to see them attack me.
Yeah, I do begin with you. I have no problem, because Islam, is ruining millions of the life of the people. And, and there is really nothing to offer to the mankind. Can you tell me what can I offer except cutting the hands of the people?
They offer nothing to mankind.
Nothing.
I used to debate with Muslims. I used to debate with Muslims constantly, and especially when I was working for the government and I was undercover inside the jails there. They used to have Muslim gangs, right? And they couldn't eat this and couldn't eat that, and they protest. And and they put one in a cell with me in the cell, in a jail cell. And I was like, oh boy! And they got to get up 5 times a day to pray. And one time they get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh no. There's not, we're not going to do, on the magic carpet that they got there, up and down, and they turn left, turn right, and Huma Hakbar, and all that crap. No. We're not going to do that, So, I almost had it out with them there. Almost got to a little scrap there with one. I said, you're not the enemy anyway, aren't you? And then he tried, they tried to change their tune, because, I'm not the enemy. No, they just say that and whatever. I said, look, they say one thing in the Quran and they mean another. Come on. We know what the Quran says. It's just a book of philosophical views of nonsense and bullcrap. It does not mean anything. It you know what I mean? It's created out of nothing for nothing. It has no definition of truth.
Absolutely. Before I say something, I want to say to Gon Sleever, I think, if I'm correct pronouncing, he's from the Freedom Radio. We did chat with them about 10 days ago, and from Freedomizer Radio. And I want to tell him hi, and we welcome him into your show as well.
Hello. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike. I missed that last couple words there you had.
Yeah. I want just to tell him hi. And then anyway, you are right. The bottom line, it is, I send greetings to Daduk, Usama Daduk from BTR and our Patriotic. And I hope his show goes live this Saturday, I guess 7 o'clock California time zone. And so, absolutely, it's there is a gentleman who wrote the book called Ayat Makki, Ayat Madini. So that means verses of the Mecca and verses of the Medina. And he put it into account that, the followers of Abu Bakr, Omar, Osman,
they've got cells all over this. Yeah, they've got Muslim cells all over this country. I know that, and they hate America. This is the problem with the border. This is the problem with all these different groups of people coming over here. Is they hate America.
Absolutely. He wrote in his book that he was somehow motivated by the real Muhammad that write his book, and then what happened? The Abu Bakr, Omar, Osman killed real Muhammad. So the real Quran is from the chapter 1 to chapter 10, and anything after chapter 10 is written by the false Muhammad, because Abu Bakr, Omar, because there was no internet at that time, there was nothing such a thing, so people don't know who was the real Muhammad was, his photo. So somebody, the Abu Bakr, Omar, Osman killed the real Muhammad, and they put fake Muhammad onto his leadership. And then he wrote the rest of the Quran from chapter 11 and beyond. And that's why from chapter 11 you read, you understand that it's like somebody was on, opium or something like that. It's a nonsense, But from chapter 1 to chapter 10, it was from the real Muhammad. So if you can go Amazon it, Ayat Makki and Ayat Madini, and if you can read some article about it too, and I advise everybody should read these two books and to know real Islam, because real Islam was from chapter 1 to chapter 10. After that, it was not the real Muhammad. It was the false Muhammad. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead, Gibson.
Hey, Joe.
I think he dropped. Go ahead, sir.
He may have.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, please. Tell us what I said. What do you think, sir? Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to have to apologize to you, Mike, because I wasn't paying a lot of attention. I was trying to see what I could figure out with this BTR screw up that's going on right now with Robert's show and between Joseph's show. I know that, excuse me, on Robert's show that was supposed to be on at this time, the show got up and was kind of running, but the guest call-in line was not working.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And,
so again, very well. The issue is very well is maybe again continuous because yes, the BTR wasn't working good since Saturday, at least minimum, if not from Friday of last week. So I guess
but it's Robert's show that's having the problem right now, who should be on, and excuse me, Joe's show seems to be working pretty good, and I see that Robert just came into. I just see that Robert came into the to the chat room here.
Okay.
And we
All
may.
right, I'm back.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Robert.
okay,
Paul. Okay.
All right, let me unmute this call. I got 505 who wants to get unmuted. 505, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Hello, Joe. This is Robert. We tried to start the
Okay.
show again, and it did exactly the same thing. Nobody could call in, so I just ended the show, and we're probably all going to head over here.
Well, you can do your show here. Just start your time now, and you got the floor. I'll just run the switchboard. That's all. I mean, you just do your thing if that's what you want to do. I mean, if you got stuff that you wanted to talk about or stuff you had lined up, I know you don't have your keyboard with you, or you can't, or I don't know what you can play or not. I know you don't have access to everything, but you can still talk and choose your topic for the night.
There was only several things that I had lined up to talk about. And one of them was that our military tracking a high altitude object over the U.S. Apparently, they've shot that down, but it was over Colorado, and the officials were looking into the purpose of the balloon. The U.S. military sent a picture and said that it was not a threat. But the last time I heard anything about it, they had shot it down. So, at least it didn't get all the way across our nation and out into the ocean before it was shot down like the last one.
Well, it depends on which way it was moving across the nation.
I think it was moving the same way, but they first saw it over Colorado. And I saw a map that showed that it was going to go from Colorado down south and kind of head towards the east coast. But that's all I know about it right now. And
I didn't hear nothing about that actually.
Well,
I didn't hear nothing about it.
I can tell you this.
Yeah, I'm seeing it right now. Hello, all everybody. I'll put a link in the chat room to the story on the latest.
All right. I can't type in the chat room. It won't let me. So I'm having technical difficulties. No, that's because I tried to get back over to Robert.
And
is that the new Chinese?
Anyway,
is that the new Chinese balloon right now on Colorado?
That's what I'm
the new Chinese balloon.
Probably.
I bet it's probably from China, but they say it's of unknown origin, so they don't know yet.
Again?
Yeah,
again?
The first
this is happening? Again?
The first headline
today.
I came across here was from the U.S. Department of Defense, and the headline was F-22 safely shoots down Chinese spy balloon off South Carolina coast.
Well, that's the older one. That's what they did.
That's the older one, and it
previously.
shows February 4th of 2023. So that was the wrong one. So let me go back here.
All right.
Yeah, this one, U.S. authorities are currently this is article just posted today and updated at 6:09 p.m. Pacific. U.S. authorities are currently tracking a high-altitude balloon of unknown origin and purpose over American airspace. The balloon was over Colorado earlier in the day and is traveling east CBS reported, citing sources familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, confirmed in a statement that in close coordination with the FAA, NORAD detected a small balloon at an altitude varying between 43 and 45,000 feet. The balloon was intercepted by NORAD fighters over Utah, who determined it was not maneuverable and did not present a threat to national security. The statement continued, NORAD will continue to track and monitor the balloon. The FAA also determined that the balloon posed no hazard to flight safety. NORAD remains in close coordination with the FAA to ensure flight safety. So that's the article that I see. So, it doesn't pose a threat. Yeah, right. Well, then what the hell is it doing there? You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man.
Let me go to NSW, United States Special Warfare Command site and see what they got up. They got any news from the press room? Let me see here about this. But yeah, they because I didn't hear nothing about this. I mean, it's the first I've heard about it. I mean, you guys talking about it. I mean, that's right off my coast.
When I was getting ready to do my show, I was looking for a couple of articles to talk about, and that was the first one that jumped out at me and said it was breaking news, and that was back at 4:01 this afternoon. So.
Wow. Weird. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, this is things that you wonder. Like what's going on? What are they up to? I mean, they never got an explanation about the balloon from last year when it went across the that it's traveled all across the United States, was taking all kinds of infrared pictures that because they have technology on that thing that from like, geez, insane. It can see through walls, see through roofs, and it can listen, and that's what they were saying. So. I mean, you think you're safe inside your house? You're not. They can see. They can look right through walls.
Yep.
So I had a white van
over Montana,
on my road.
And there's that big Air Force base up there too. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There was a white van parked on my road for about 3 days in a row, and it was just parked there. And I didn't think nothing of it. I thought maybe it was just a contractor working. I said, wait a second here. They're just there at that time in the morning, and then I was coming back early in the morning from the gym. I decided to come back early, and I seen somebody getting in, and like they hopped in the driver's side real fast as they saw my van pulling up, to the stop sign. So I said, So I sat, parked, and I, looked through the rear mirror, and then they left, and I took some pictures of it, made sure they let me see, and I let me see me taking pictures of it, and then I haven't seen it since. So, because I'm an anti-extremist now. I mean, I'm an anti-government extremist now, and an activist. So they're watching me. They're red flagging me now. Oh, what's this guy up to? We forgot about him. He was buried in the files a long time ago. Wow, we got to check him out. So yeah, bastards.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I've been looking at past couple of weeks. I mentioned on my show that I had ordered a street light, a solar street light that I could put up, and a camera. And the camera and the street light arrived the other day, and I've got them both set up, and that camera is awesome. It's like the super high definition, and
really?
Oh, man, it takes pictures that are just unbelievable. And I've got it set up so that when something comes moving through the parking lot, it'll follow them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like
and
that.
And I can actually even talk on my phone and tell them, get the hell out of here, and it'll come through a speaker on the camera and everything. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. So
yes. 1 year after Chinese spy balloon drifted over the continental U.S. for several days and was blown apart off the coast of South Carolina with an AIM-9X Sidewinder missile by a fifth-generation fighter jet. A new report from CBS News indicates the U.S. military is tracking a high-altitude balloon flying over the western part of the country. This western part of the country here. Sources familiar with that's the same thing she just read, I think. U.S. military aircraft is tracking an unidentified high-altitude balloon flying over the western part of the United States. A raw news alert.
So is this a recent news, right, for your listeners? So it's not the oldest story. This is just off the probably CNN or Fox News. Is that right, please?
Yeah, it was happening this afternoon. So, but my wife, last time she was listening to the news out there, and she said that she got a thing saying that they'd shot it down. Well, I still haven't found anything about that. But,
I don't see nothing here either about that. And this is 16 minutes ago. With the probably loaded with an electromagnetic pulse device. They're saying that requires power balloons. So that's from 7 minutes ago. So launched.
Oh, that is awesome.
I'm reading all these comments too underneath. Yeah, that's where you get the information. The comments, not the news story.
I did find the story. Actually, you're right. You guys, and I always say you are right, but I did locate this. I'm from CBS, Colorado. That yes, they did. They did
shoot it down.
No, not yet. But I think still they're tracking it as 19 minutes ago, but. Maybe any minutes could be changed, so I'm not sure yet. But yeah.
How about that lady that got knocked out? Everyone see that video on Twitter with that black guy that knocked out the white lady, old lady? Anybody see that one? That was going viral. It was like a traffic accident, and he got out, this black guy out of his car, enraged, and he just knocked out this old lady now. This big black husky black guy just knocked her out cold cocked her. I mean, insane, man. Yeah. Crazy. Now, if that was a white guy that did that to a black old lady, oh, my Lord, you guys would have heard about it. Matter of fact, they'd be marching up and down the streets right now. Yeah, burning down Dollar Generals. Yeah,
the only thing I found about that balloon on Newsmax, all it says is a high-altitude balloon of unknown origin and purpose was spotted over western United States Friday afternoon, CBS News reported. Speaking on a condition of anonymity, which is exactly what Lorianne said, sources said the balloon was moving east on the jet stream, and it still doesn't say anything about it being shot down, but it said in December it was reported that the Chinese spy balloon that traversed the United States used an American internet service provider to send data back to China.
This is confirmed. They're saying what is it? Michelle Obama is going to be running for president. She's going to be replacing Biden. They're saying, yep, she's going to replace Biden. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying right now.
Who said that? Who's saying that?
Everybody. Let's see here. This comes from. Hang on, I'll give you the news source. By Ben Warren. Ben Warren he's associated with the Associated Press. That Ben Warren did the story, and it says that she went on Twitter talking about it. And the guy that ran for president, the Republican, at the Republican, what's that guy? That name, the Indian guy. Him too. He's saying it too.
Vivek.
So that guy, what the hell's his name? I can't pronounce his name. The guy from Miami, Florida.
Vivek.
Yeah. He's yep.
Yeah, actually, it says it was a non-threatening balloon spotted flying high over mountainous western United States, was intercepted by fighter jets over, Colorado Friday. Yeah, basically it was around Cheyenne, Wyoming, Colorado, and other states close by.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's probably some freaking thing from test weather balloon from NASA or whatever. Who the hell knows? It's not. Listen, if China launched something, it would not make it across the California beach line before we shot it down. That's a fact. They're not going to allow something to travel all over the United States taking pictures. That's a crock of baloney. Come on. Especially remember 9/11 too. It's come on. No way. Hours and hours and letting that thing go. No way. Not going to happen.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It was a non-threatening. Maybe somebody wants just put a balloon, I don't know. Hey, it was probably from somewhere around that area, somebody put a unmanned balloon off.
Robert, you got anything else you want to talk about? I'm like, I give you the floor first.
Well,
so
one of the articles that I found this morning before I went to work was, I guess Laura Trump is running for the RNC's chair that Ronna McDaniel had.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to find that one now. I've got them here.
That's
somewhere.
interesting. She pounds me with emails, that Ronna McDaniel. I can't stand her. Drives me nuts.
Yeah, she's related to Mitt Romney, so that's one of the reasons why she drives you nuts.
Hey, how's my video doing up there on your Rumble channel? How's it doing? Getting more views or what?
Last time I checked, it was well over 100. It was let's see, I can go there now and check it, but it's been a while since I've been on Rumble. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see, I can continue watching.
That's good. I'm happy about that, actually. I mean, you told me that. I was like, oh, cool.
Great. There's 2 comments on it now. I think probably.
Yeah,
one
I posted one actually. Yeah, I posted. Yeah. Trying to help you out, give it a boost. This way here they can watch your other videos.
Yeah, it's 161 now.
Oh man! All right.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that other article that I had, the Laura Trump to Newsmax, I could restore faith in RNC as co-chair. And I guess President Trump recommended her. So,
well, of course he did.
The way I look at it, anything would be better than Ronna McDaniel anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Oh, I promoted the no credit card Friday thing. I posted that up. I posted it on Facebook and too. I don't know how many people did it, but Suzette brought that up one night last week and said that everyone, we should start every single Friday not to use any credit cards, just use cash. That's it. Don't use our credit cards whatsoever. So, which I think is a good idea.
Credit card, so. And that is a good idea.
Cash only.
Oh, okay. Most of the
Stay
stuff
away
I
from
do
the Federal
is cash
Reserve
only, so.
as much as possible. The Federal Reserve's criminal transactions, because credit is nothing but phony credit. It's not credit, and they don't give us no credit. It's money created out of thin air, and it's your money created through your signature. They commit a felony and fraud right off the bat when they put the application in, and when they practice fractional reserve banking, so they commit fraud.
Oh yeah. Well, we all know that.
Well, the Federal Reserve is bad. It's a bad business. People don't understand that. That's
absolutely. I don't know, you guys, how you feel that there is a California Senate hopeful Barbara Lee wants $50 per hour minimum wage for not only California but for in future for all the United States. What do you think of the $50 per hour minimum wage that they're now advocating in California by Barbara Lee? Go ahead, please. Anybody?
I don't know, Robert. You want to first crack, or Lorianne? $50, 50 hour an hour minimum wage.
Hell, I'd go for $50 an hour minimum wage, but only if I could do it, and only if the government pays for it with their
Spread
money,
the love.
not ours.
Yeah, spread the love, right? Why can't we get a piece of the pie? Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, you promise stuff like that to people, and they don't seem to realize, you raise minimum wage, what's going to happen is they're going to end up paying for it through the products that are made by the companies that are paying that. And they just don't seem to realize this stuff.
Well, furniture, rocking chair. I bought a recliner on Friday. a rocking chair, right? Recliner rocking chair at the furniture store. First I went to the furniture store and they were like $569. I said, hell no, right? So then I went to Big Lots because they're pretty cheap, but the furniture's pretty cheap too. So, but I went there and they were like $179, from last time I bought it about 4 years ago. Man, $499. I was like, oh my, come on, for a rocking chair, man. Rocker recliner. Come on.
Yeah. And they're getting more expensive all the time. I know that the store I work in, Office Depot, they sell a lot of furniture. They sell desks and stuff like that. And my chair that I've got, I actually got a hell of a good deal on it because it's like a $399 chair. And the first of the year they had it on sale for $99. Well, since I worked there, I got an employee discount, so I paid $89 for a $399 chair. And I'm glad I got it because it's really comfortable. I sit in a lot. But there was this lady who came in today and bought a chair, and she paid like $349 for it. And she said, oh, that's a good price. I said, are you kidding me? That's a lot of money.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's bad. It's terrible. The prices out there, the inflation, is that the economy is the number one thing that affects the people. That and their health care. And and speaking of the economy, the jerks out there that like to get over on people. Like I have this eBay, my publishing account I set up, right? And I show them the classic Beatles cartoon, right? The disc, it's DVD disc 1 and 2, and it's got cartoon episodes, the cartoon classics from the Beatles. So this guy buys it from me, and he's hounding me the whole time. Did you ship it yet? Did you ship it yet? Did you do this? I said, eBay handles all that. I said, listen, don't be saying. I said, don't. What do you need? Harassing me about stuff. So anyway, he gets his order, and first thing he does, it doesn't play right in his DVD player. Oh, the quality is defective, so he wants his money back. But this is what he does. First, he says before he asks his money back, he says, do you have discs 3 and 4? So why would you want discs 3 and 4 if 1 and 2 didn't work? Right?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So and I saw it coming. And I alerted eBay, and but they always stick up for the buyer, no matter what. So I got to accept the return. Now they freeze the $12 in my account. They freeze the funds automatically without my permission. They don't care. They just rip it right out of my account and give it back to them. So that's like PayPal, eBay, Amazon. They're criminal corporations. They're criminal.
Yeah, and they'll get as much money out of you as they possibly can for as little quality as they possibly can give you.
Yeah. Right about that. I did a show on Amazon about 4 years ago when they shut down my royalty accounts, and I've been in a battle with them ever since. And finally, this week, I think I finally won. And they might be paying me back the money that they owe me. They owe me a lot of money. They owe me like $64,000 on one account, and I've been battling with them. Yeah, well, I was making $12,000 a month on just from Amazon alone, and they just shut down our accounts, just shut them down because we can't have a little guy, out there, a small business guy making money. We can't do that. So.
Well, one of the things I was going to talk about on my show tonight, because I knew you would show up, and you did. I wanted to ask you how is your campaign going? How is it working out for you right now?
Well, again, I'm kind of like, I don't know how the voters are going to react to this stuff that they've written about me. I'm getting a lot of people sticking up for me. And like other people said, any type of media coverage is good. But I don't know what's going to, when they go to the booth to vote, I don't know, what are they going to look at my name and say, that guy's a racist Nazi, I can't vote for him, or are they going to, or are they going to say the system's screwing them over like they do Trump, Well,
I think one of the things that the left does, and they do this very well, I have learned from all my life. I've worked in printing. I've been in newspaper printing and everything else. One of the things that has always hit me with the way people are is first impressions stick around. And if that first impression is a bad one, it's going to stick around no matter how much proof comes along saying, no, this isn't true.
Yeah. That's what I'm afraid
of.
of.
That's what bothers me about a lot of what's going on. People are, you've still got this 30% who seem to support Biden like rabid dogs, and yet all the proof shows that he's screwing this nation over. But these people don't think so because they listen to the mainstream lying media that gives them all of these lies about how great he's doing, how good the economy is. Well, that's what they hear. That's what they believe.
Yep. Yeah. Was it your show last week or Lori Ann's show where somebody said that Trump inherited Obama's economy? That's why the economy did so good while Trump was president. I almost fell off my chair when I heard that.
Yeah. I mentioned that one time that was something that the media is talking about. Well, they're talking about it because they think if they say it, and it's like the old adage: you tell a lie enough times, people are going to consider it the truth.
Yeah, I mean it's insane. It's insane. I just don't know how people can, I mean, look, if Biden was doing good, I'd be the first one. I want him to do good. I want to, I don't want to see him fail. I don't know.
Well, that's the first thing I was talking about. Like when Obama ran. If he, my first thing was, sure, if he runs and he becomes president, give him a chance, see if he does good. And then I always said, after he became president, if I was the first black president, I'd want to be the best president there ever was to make sure that people saw, what I did was a great thing. Well, he didn't seem to freaking give a damn. And Biden doesn't seem to care either.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, what did you think when Obama... Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, my friends. Can I ask that lady's name, please?
What lady?
I think that there was a lady, or not, or maybe I made a mistake.
Lori Ann?
Is it Robert?
Lori Ann, yeah.
Oh, Lorena. Okay, nice to meet you too. The problem is New World Order. The New World Order is everywhere right now. New World Order of Islamic Republic of Iran, New World Order of Russia and China together, New World Order of NATO and United States of America. And the problem is when Obama came and they kept left the door, borderlines all wide open.
909.
And
you're right.
And still up to today, is New World Order is leaving our borderlines open. If a nation doesn't have a borderline, so it's better not to have a nation anymore, which we will not have very soon, because their agenda is to bring North American Union and AMERO as their superior army of Canada, Mexico, and United States together. And they want AMERO, they want a joint, they want one president for all the three nations. They want pretty much everything become like NATO, European Union.
We know about the New World Order. Yeah, we know about the European Union, African Union. Yeah, we know all about them, merge it as one.
That's the problem. Until we cannot close our borderlines, which they don't, because soon we will be all minorities, into minorities, and they will be majorities. And with one vote, they can rule everything out and connect us to the North American Union and become one country with Mexico and Canada. So, that's the problem. My friends, go ahead.
We've been talking about this for years. This New World Order. Believe me, we know about that. That's not news to us, that's old news actually. But hang on, let me connect 909. Been waiting here. 909, go ahead. I don't know who this is.
Hello. Hi.
Yes, hey Suzette.
Hi, Suzette.
Hi, Suzette. Hi,
everybody.
How are you? Long time no see you. No talk to you. Go ahead, please.
It's been a while, Mike.
Yes.
Good to hear you on the air.
Nice to hear from you too. Go ahead, please.
Yes, and Mike, you were on my show on Sunday night too. So we met there, and we had a pretty good conversation on Sunday night on my show. So good to reconnect with you as well.
I forgot. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So basically, I was just listening in on the conversation, and I think personally, as far as that balloon is concerned, and the same with the last one, they never actually recovered any. I guess there was 2 of them that were floating across the United States or whatever, and they basically blew one up over the ocean. So I mean, as far as its internal mechanisms within that so-called balloon, to say it had all those spy mechanisms, cameras, and all this equipment. Well, they blew it to smithereens, so how would they know? They never actually recovered one in its entirety, as far as being whole. So I just think that that's weird that they had said that it had all those capabilities, infrared and stuff. When they blew it to smithereens, they couldn't recover any of the parts. And then this one that's supposedly going across Colorado or whatever it is, that's going across there, and Utah and this and that. It just seems to me like they're really working it to influence opinions about it, because if they say that it's spy balloon, then you'll have people say, no, it's not, it's a psyop, and then so they're doing the opposite, I think, as far as saying it's not a security risk, and so that way people will say the opposite about it. Because you have all these news networks, almost saying, well, not all these ones, but the ones that are reporting it verbatim as far as what they think it is and when it came into view and what the government's doing about it. And so it's like that one video that shows all the news talking heads talking about the same thing, just rearranging the words a little bit, but some of it verbatim, and so it's hard for me to pay attention to anything like that to think about paying attention to it. To me, it's like a distraction, in my opinion.
Well,
but anyway, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Now, here you got to know that the U.S. has 2 to 3 balloons just like those up over top of the United States at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Doing exactly what this thing is doing.
Well, we don't know what this
observing.
thing's doing. Okay.
It's listening, observing, taking pictures, tracking things, and as far as I know, that could be one of our own balloons that somebody caught and didn't know about.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we have got gear and surveillance aircraft that can track a soccer ball at 300 miles.
Sure.
And watch it go across the ground.
Oh, we have satellites that can triangulate a vehicle in any given area and zoom in on it, so you can actually see the make and model and even the license plate, as far as capabilities go. So I don't know why they would need a spy balloon to do that when they have those other capabilities that are less obvious,
Yeah.
So,
can I answer
heard?
Suzette, please? Can I answer quick, Suzette? Suzette, I think sometimes right with this cyber attacks that is happening with nationwide. Still, we are on that cyber attack right now, and what has happened, they're trying to give suddenly attention to something else, so we forget about all these issues. I think that's very possibility. Go ahead, please.
Oh yeah, I agree. And then a recent somewhat article had come out in American Greatness, their website, and it talks about NATO's new mission, Peace Through Censorship. I don't know if anybody caught that article.
Censorship.
Yeah. It's very interesting because it talks about NATO and its commanders, our commander, and how they are going to. Now, they talked about this at their conference that they had, and then they have like a magazine for the NATO members, and which NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. For those who don't know what NATO, NATO is, they may be familiar with the acronym NATO, but not know what it is. But so it's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, and so this transatlantic military alliance is in search of a reason for perpetuating its existence because people want to get rid of it. They don't. It's not necessary anymore, and so of course they've got to protect their existence, at all costs. When anything of power sees that its existence is going to cease at some point, they'll do everything in their power to stop it or what they think that they can do. But anyway, so the magazine it came out in, which is theirs, is called The Three Swords, and it's in issue 39, and it's from October 2023, so last year, at the end of last year. And so the the commander talked about that they're going to be ushering in our free world in 2024, 1984. Which you know what that reference is reference to. And it says, quote, cognitive warfare is a fact of the modern age, and everyone, whether civilian or military, is a potential target. Cognitive attacks are aimed at exploiting emotions rooted in our subconscious, bypassing our rational conscious mind, and this is achieved by exploiting biases, fallacies, emotions, and automatums, where we put the isms at the end of everything. And it also says, but also through nanotechnology, biotechnology, and information technology. And they go on to say, in cognitive warfare, the ultimate aim is to alter our perception of reality and to deceive our brain in order to affect our decision-making. We're commonly unaware of such attacks before it's too late. And they have already affected their targets. Therefore, we must protect ourselves by raising awareness and developing a system of indicators and warnings that can provide real-time information. So again, this magazine goes out to its members. Quote, while cognitive effects are not measurable in the typical sense, they do affect how we think, what we feel, and how we act. They are taking place already now, and these attacks will continue to become more sophisticated. Several countries are developing NBIC capabilities and collecting data for use in targeting the cognitive dimension. So these activities are supported by aspects such as data mining and data analytics, and are further combined with artificial intelligence. And the most vulnerable individuals who feel a lack of belonging, feel marginalized, think that they lack the ability to express their grievances, or believe that they are deprived of their rights. Usually this is combined with a lack of trust in government and social structures. These perceptions can stem from ethical, racial, religious, economic, or even historical reasons. And vulnerabilities are also the key when it comes to understanding how we can protect ourselves against a cognitive attack. So it says in Western societies there are 4 fundamental vulnerabilities to consider. Government structure, the Western liberal democratic structure, is vulnerable to cognitive attacks and at the same time limits the opportunity to detect and defend against these attacks. So these attacks basically are coming from satellites, from other areas of the earth where they have these type of mechanisms to deploy it. And so the media and information landscape, limited means or lack of willingness to share information openly, especially in combination with low literacy or to develop critical thinking skills, opens up a critical vulnerability that can be exploited by adversaries. They go into basically how they're going to do this, but how to protect yourselves as well. And I just thought, wow, that's really bold of them to put that out there like that, But if they're doing it amongst the members, then it's fine because they're talking to each other. So because us public don't even think to look into their type of magazines that they distribute amongst each other, or the WEF, the WEF, they have their own type of magazines and stuff that they put out as well. And so if we're not aware of what's in them, it makes us vulnerable to what they are planning to do with us. And it's something that we need to be aware of. It's, let's see, quote, within the cognitive warfare concept, cognitive resilience is defined as the capacity to withstand and recover quickly from an adversarial cognitive attack through the effective preparation of groups and individuals. And we must look at the current ways in which cognitive activities are conducted and by which means. In order to keep the initiative, we need to anticipate possible future developments. And currently, such future developments include ways to read thoughts and emotions, which can enable measurements of the effect of cognitive activities. And based on the result models, can be developed to improve decision-making, but also to identify weaknesses to exploit. So there are rapid developments in the fields of NBIC. One of the most promising projects is the development of embedded synthetic DNA, or sDNA, and this can be a useful alternative to silicon semiconductors. Currently, it is possible to store 2.14 by 106 bytes of data on sDNA. This organic material can enable human-machine interfaces, as is often seen as the 47th human chromosome. Crazy, right? Hook me up, Commander. I'm ready to defend the brave new world, it says. Quote, Article 3 of the Washington Treaty, NATO's founding document, establishes the principle of resilience. Quote, in order to more effectively achieve the objectives of this treaty, the parties separately and jointly, by means of continuous and effective self-help and mutual aid, will maintain and develop their individual and collective capacity to resist armed attack. Article 3 includes supporting the continuity of government and the provision of essential services, among them resilient civilian communication systems. This means that cognitive resilience, as an aspect of promoting and enhancing civil preparedness, requires that NATO play a key role, but only in support of its member nations' own efforts and not as a standalone actor. NATO nations differ in their cultural, social, technological, and government structures, and with that, their susceptibility to cognitive attacks, a tailored approach is needed to provide the right support to the nations. Basically, they want to, enslave us as far as our minds go. And as far as their NATO nations go, yeah, we will, more censored, but we will actually want to do these things. And that's why we have the left. Well, yeah. The left, yes. The left wants to because they want to be protected from hateful speech, not realizing that it's not hateful speech. Go ahead.
They want to take away all of our sovereign abilities to self-govern and be individuals. They want to put everyone is in a group or category. And that's why, back years ago, remember you heard me always talking about the Republic and how the military was going to, arrest a de facto, and back in 2008, 2009, 2010. And so I pulled up and they served all 50 governors with warrants, okay, and not warrants that you're thinking of, but a warrant, to resign from public office in 3 days. So, and when they ignored them and didn't respond and stayed in office, that's what re-inhabited the republic by law. So, but let me, it's one small paragraph, but this is a copy of the warrant. The guardians of the free republics and sole lawful authority on the land, we the sovereign people inhabiting the free American republics, the well-regulated guardians of the free republics under God, having established the rule of lawful de jure governance and re-inhabited these de jure grand juries by the unanimous declaration of the sovereign people of the United States of America to restore and re-inhabit the free American republic. C 2010. Get a bunch of numbers there. Do the United States of America to restore and re-inhabit the free republics. Hereby invoke our sacred dominion over all the earth and issue this warrant and orders attached. Hereby invoke. Orders here attached hereto to the following. Men and women presently acting in the incorporated capacities, respectively noted thereby, and all successors thereto, and nominees thereof, and to all other people, governments, and nations to whom this warrant and orders necessarily apply. Okay, and then it goes and it gives a list of Robert Riley, a man occupying the office of governor, Incorporated State of Alabama. And it goes on and on and on. Each governor, and then it goes to the next page. It goes. Let's see who else has a list here. And then the last paragraph, it says the notice. Now it says this is the notice. The warrant compromises notice to each and all of the above listed men and women, and all agents and nominees thereof and successors thereof too, and to all the people, governments, and nations of the world, of the re-inhabitation of the legitimate, de jure, unincorporated Republican government institutions pursuant to the constitutions of the free American republics and the United States of America Republic 1787, and the conclusion, termination, voiding, and defunding of the de facto office of these governors of each of the aforesaid 50 political subdivisions of the United States Federal Corporation. So then it quotes some laws and everything, and then this is given to the International Court, World Court, the Hague, United Postal Union, and all the governors were served. So then it goes on. There's about 50 pages here of other stuff that it has, quoting the guardians of the free republics, and that was back when they were going to. They re-inhabited the de jure government, and the military was going to announce it to the people. But we were having all these meetings across the country, and people were arguing, like you can't do that because there'll be riots in the streets. As soon as you turn off people's food stamp cards and they don't get their government check, and you stop trash service in New York City, how are you going to keep the infrastructure of the country going while you re-inhabit and how are you going to phase out the Federal Reserve? So all these little things and details weren't worked out. Can't have tanks on every corner in America. It won't happen. We don't have enough tanks anyway. So, what's the rest of our military going to do? We're going to start bringing them back home, yeah. But what's the world? The world financial system would collapse. So, and we wouldn't care about the rest of the world, but is that our responsibility or isn't it? I mean, we're not supposed to do no harm to others. So, these are all the conversations that were happening at these meetings. I was in these meetings with 300-400 people at a time, every single weekend for like 6 months straight. And at the end, everybody was like, we're just going to be on standby. That's it. Everybody started disappearing, going back into the emails got lost, phone numbers got disconnected, and everybody just disappeared. So, it's, again, so was that, what do you guys make of that? I'm just throwing that out there in your opinion. I'm going to have to get your opinion, excuse me. What do you make of that?
As far as everybody disappearing? No,
about re-inhabiting the de jure government is the way that how they were going, that the plan of implementing it at that time by arresting the governors, by telling them to vacate office so that, we can have real elections, lawful elections, like we talk about, and have a de jure government put back in place.
Well, all of this would have already been done a long time ago, but see, each time they make their attempt, because this isn't the first attempt by the elitist or shadow government or world, global, whatever, talking head people, trying to govern under one government. We've had several attacks, but each time they learn, because when it looks good on paper, actually doesn't seem to be panning out, and so they retreat and go back and learn about that and what happened and their wrongs and how they could fix it, and then they'll come back again and they'll make another attempt, except for they have corrected where they erred last time with their plans, and so they continue to do that. And right now they are in a holding pattern, but they're still there, and this is evident in the fact that we were supposed to have another virus unleashed, and we hear about it here and there, and that we're here in the States, but nothing to the level of the COVID hoax virus as far as vaccine.
No, I think you misinterpreted my question. I wanted to know your opinion as to the implementation of the de jure lawful republic government by unseating and dethroning the corporation.
No, that won't happen. That won't happen. And as far as their plan and how to implement it and how you had written it out there, it's just not possible to do at this time. And as far as the corporations go, as far as us dethroning them, the only way that's going to happen is if entrepreneurship can hold here in the United States and across the world in its truest form, without relying on any type of government assistance to get their products or services
exactly
done.
Yeah, because the government would collapse, the infrastructure would collapse.
Yeah, but here's Suzette.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the one flaw with what you had just said about the entrepreneurs not having any government assistance in doing whatever it is they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, on that note and whatnot, they might not get any government assistance in starting whatever business or that they want to get into, or whatever type of widgets they want to make or anything like that. The one thing is that they will not have all the government regulation and red tape to go through.
Mm-hmm. Right.
To set up their operations.
And that's bad. Why?
So
well, we have to reabsorb
without the government interference, through regulations and stuff. That would be probably as much, if not a greater help, to de jure entrepreneurship as anybody could want for, hope for.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. You had said the only one problem with what I said was, and then you continued on. And so that's why I was saying, why is no government regulation a bad thing? I misunderstood you. Yeah, and we have the International Monetary Fund as far as the Federal Reserve goes. That's pretty much their 1 and 1. So it would just be a matter of semantics and location for currency goes.
Well, we could debit. We could debit the assets that identified in the de facto's comprehensive annual financial reports. They have enough money there. Every single state has so much surplus. It's not even funny. Like North Carolina has $89 billion sitting there. Just from a couple of years ago alone. So we're far from broke.
Right. And I had mentioned before, as far as so let's just say we decide one day to just say, sorry, Federal Reserve, we're not dealing with you anymore. We can print our own money and deal with ourselves. So go away. You're not welcome here anymore. And so what are they going to do? What's the Federal Reserve going to do? I mean, they have no laws that are going to arrest everybody in the United States or even the United States government. They can't, as far as put liens on anybody for the money that's owed to them. So there's nothing. But nobody has actually said it out loud as far as let's just one day just stop using the Federal Reserve. Then we have other banks. We have credit unions. We have local banks. We don't need them. And what are they going to do about it?
Yeah. Yep.
Nobody's been able to answer that question for me, whether it's Congress or any of us. What are they going to do about it? And Congressman I spoke to in New Mexico had told me that's a very good question. I couldn't answer it for you.
You also have to consider the fact that all of these so-called independent banks and credit unions and whatnot are governed under the rules set up by the Federal Reserve.
Right. And so if they abandoned those and just went by U.S. Treasury rules, nothing would happen. I mean, so the Federal Reserve goes, all right, you're not playing by our rules anymore, we're cutting you off. Okay, no problem. We've got the Treasury over here working with us. Now what?
Yeah, because we still got our Treasury, and really, we can, they can really, the funds can be implemented and absorbed back into the Treasury. The Treasury could deposit a $1 billion coin. It's a $1 trillion
coin. That's what we're supposed to be operating out of. But then they went with the Federal Reserve. But originally, the Treasury is supposed to be our source for currency, not the Federal Reserve. But you know that, Joseph. But
yeah.
So people are worried. We can't piss off the Federal Reserve. Well, why not? Well, what will happen? You got a bunch of old men sitting around a table, and then what? They're not in charge of the military, so they can't seize us or seize our government. They got nothing.
Yeah.
So that,
and the people. Go ahead, Mike.
Thank you very much. When a government of people for the people, it doesn't exist anymore. We have a governmental corporation by the corporation for the corporations. This is what we see. And it no matter to me, without offense, no matter who is elected next time, or we will not have election at all. It doesn't matter. The bottom line, it will be continuation of pretty much the same policies into policies of the policies. Because British, they set us up. British, they divided us by every means that they could. By the religion, by the economic status, by the political, whether you like X, Y, Z, etc. So they created very bad situation into United States of America that never been we were in this position before. So they want us to take the bait. But are we going to take the bait of the British Empire? That's a big question. To me, I hope we don't. But if we do it, that's why they made the movie Civil War II. Civil War II, that is coming to all the theaters worldwide. Because of what? Because they predict exactly, they want us to do that. And I hope we don't do that. But I don't know how much the chances are. Don't do it or we do it. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure I understand how that ties into the Federal Reserve and dissolving.
Because Federal Reserve is it for you or for me? No, it's not for me. It's for the corporations.
Yeah, that's why I say to get rid of it.
Well, it's for them. So if it's not belong to us, all of us, then it's not good for us. So therefore, it's part of they put all the structure within. They have their own, in case of any right now, because of this balloon. I will give you the sites later on. But once you go to the sites, and you'll see right now it's alive because of the balloon on the Colorado area that is found. All the nuclear forces of NATO and United States in a state of emergency as we speak. So you see, the news, they don't want us to hear whatever they want to feed us. But right now, also Putin was seen in the T-21 bomber today. He was exercising the nuclear bombs by T-21 bombers. So you see, he's in charge of all this nuclear still, and he's a pilot. I mean, he's running the T-21 bombers today. So, I mean, these are the news that they don't want you to hear. They want you to hear what they want you to hear. But if you go to NY Prepper in YouTube, right now is live after the show. Still, you can see the status of what's going on with the balloon and all the nuclear forces of United States and NATO. And right now, over California, there is a B-1 bomber of the United States, and at least five right now is patrolling all United States right now. And also, if you go to Canadian Prepper, YouTube it, please, Canadian Prepper. You will get the latest, cleanest, purest news that nowhere else you can find. But, of course, we have our intel, too. We share it with you guys. But these are the two main sites after other sites that you guys visit. This is the best one. Thank you.
Why do you think it's allowed on YouTube?
Repeat the
Yeah.
Why do you think it's allowed on YouTube?
Why it's allowed in the YouTube?
Yeah, because if it's the only information of its kind, and it's information that the general public shouldn't be privy to, why would it be on YouTube? Most of that stuff
because if it has over 1.5 million supporters, Canadian Prepper, which he himself is so far. I mean, you have to give a chance, to analyze.
I'm just curious how YouTube allows that information on there. Usually they'll suspend an account until a person removes any type of disinformation. Mm-hmm.
But he has been around for over 10, 15 years, or NY Prepper, I mean, himself, he has been around for at least 10 years.
But why aren't they suspending his account, Mike? Why are they not suspending his account? Because anytime anyone posts any type of truth or information that goes against the New World Order, they ban the account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I had an account on there for almost 10 years, and they banned me last year or a year and a half ago for saying something about masks and using a doctor who had been in the business for 15, 20 years that was a respiratory doctor, and he was talking about how masks were bad for you. I got kicked off of YouTube, and I had 300-400 videos on there, and they're all gone.
Yeah. And this guy's allowed to have like over 1 million subscribers and never been suspended and able to put that information out there. Something's up with that. In my opinion, I mean, maybe it's legit. I don't know, but it just seems suspicious.
I mean, he has a small shop that his family has in Canada for kind of a prepper for preparedness and etc. And he does this as because he is in that field, and of course he has talked to many people, and that's a good question. You guys we can answer it together. Maybe next time we see in this great show or your great shows, Mr. Robert, we will try to analyze it. But I would like you guys give a chance to see what he has the info and intelligence that is remarkable. I mean, I personally, of course we have our intels, and you guys have your intels. Everybody have their own intels, but once we put it all together, I think it does make more sense with his intel. But that's a good question. We have to answer it next time, please. You're right. In some sense, yes.
Yeah, it just, I'll check it out. Of course, I don't ever not check something out, as far as just deem it disinformation and say ignore it. But yes, I'll check it out for sure. But a lot of times, or most of the time these days anyway, so you have to verify your news sources. But you'll find truth tellers like on Substack, because they can't get their articles out on mainstream media or any type of blog post because it'll get censored or suspended their account or whatever. So they have to find alternative means to get their stories out there, their information. And then, of course, you got to verify them to make sure they are legit. But then you have also banned videos and what's the other one? I don't know. There's a couple other video where you can find videos that you can't find on YouTube, BitChute, and all these Rumble, because they won't show them on YouTube. They've been suspended, so that's why I asked. One of the
No, absolutely, your valid reason. I appreciate you. I never thought of that, but but once you give a little bit chance to monitor his information, I think we both may. We all may have a different opinion by few days or a week at least when we talk about Nathan, which is Canadian Prepper and NY Prepper. These are they work. NY Prepper. He works in the army himself. He used to be in the Gulf, Persian Gulf at that time when the invasion of Iraq came. So then he himself is in Canada. Of course, Canadian law maybe is different with the YouTube than you are in United States. Maybe that's maybe it could be one of the problems that he hasn't been closed yet. But he himself he tells many times. He says, "I'm giving you all this info, but I don't know how much more I can be on the air." He does that many times. I have we monitor him. So,
Okay.
So he
no
he
problem.
knows that.
I'll check him out. Like I said, I'll check him out and see what he's got to say and let you know. But I always like to check out, see new perspectives, check out people that are out there with truth and also disinformation and misinformation, because you have to.
Yeah, because as soon as you become a creator. As soon as you become a publisher or a creator and you affect a big club, they shut you down fast, and you know.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you guys are right. I don't deny what you guys say, but yeah, we have to question everything. Absolutely.
Yeah. Just like the story about the fluorescent glow in the faces of people who were vaccinated under a UV light, they supposedly glow. And this comes through Dr. Anna Maria Michalea, and there's an article on Substack about it, and they talked about that her work is shown through scientific testing and backed up by government and NGO documentation. And the evidence shows that humanity has already been infected with cutting-edge surveillance nanotechnology. This is a follow-up on my last report on Dr. Michalea's hydrogel research. New research shows that those who receive the COVID shots emit a fluorescent orange glow in their faces that is visible under a UV light of 365 nanometers. And those who have been exposed to shedding emit this glow around their nose. And after his wife was coerced into getting the COVID shot, T.H. Hoy began his own research. And he found that more shots the persons received, the more they glowed under the UV light. and the glow can be seen initially around the nose and over time spreads throughout the entire face and into the neck. And after a hot shower, filaments are expelled through the skin of the back, and these filaments also emit a glow under UV light. These filaments not only glow, but they have been seen and shown to move on their own in sporadic movements. And they are also attracted to people. In videos, they have been seen trying to latch onto a finger. And when a person who has received the shots has had dry skin, these expelled filaments will become airborne. And this could explain how shedding occurs from the vaxxed to the unvaxxed. And the Pfizer trial document stated that an unvaxxed individual in close proximity to someone who has been vaxxed can be affected by inhaling and skin contact. In 2008, a biological nanotechnology pesticide designed to kill the brown moth in the state of California was deployed and appears to have included the same sort of fluorescent invisible micro dye that we see in the scientific research. Dr. Hildegard Strengener tested individuals exposed to this nanotech pesticide and found that a glow could be detected in their eyes under UV light. Dr. Strenger called this the eye of Horus pesticide. According to the literature, would have been used to track the effectiveness of the dispersal. This idea has been around for decades, and the Institute for National Security Studies, Non-Lethal Weapon Terms and References, published in 1997, discusses an individual infrared dye, which is invisible under UV light, so that rioters can be later identified. I'll put that article, thing URL in the chat room here. Justin Coy points out that the genetic code of the luciferase, a bioluminescent enzyme found in nature, is included in the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, also with SB40, which could theoretically allow the luciferase to be written into the genetics of the recipient. Coy proposes that this could be what is causing the vax to glow under a UV light. Now, I never got the vax, so I can't test myself to see if I glow or not. But the TRACE Act, H.R.6666, COVID-19 testing and contacting everyone Act, was introduced in May of 2020, and the bill authorizes the Center for Disease Control to contact, trace, and monitor the population. In late 2020 and early 2021, people all over the world started noticing purple streetlights, which is the color of the UV light.
Yeah, yep. Wow, I saw them.
The quantum dot tattoo research funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation provided a way of detecting whether or not a person was vaccinated by including fluorescent medical information in the vaccines. Invisible near-infrared tattoos that would imprint beneath the skin to later be read by customized smartphones. In the scientific literature on quantum dot research, those fluorescent medical information tattoos have a similar appearance to the faces of those infected by the vax under UV light. You may or you may not believe in biblical prophecy, but it seems clear that the ones running this diabolical program are using it as their playbook. From Revelation 13, quote, "And the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on the right hand of their forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark," unquote. But never forget, we will still have free will. And it's like, yeah, right.
Yeah. Wow.
Free will as a
scary.
dog, but still, yeah, totally. So let me put that in the chat room. It's also a video to go with it, but I can't find the video.
Biblically, though, that wouldn't make sense about the people getting infected that didn't get the shot, because they didn't get the shot. They didn't make the choice. You know? You can't be forced to take the mark. You know?
Right.
And I think, yeah, absolutely. Especially, the people get cancer is the highest in all over the world. Because people people taking 3 shots, 4 shots. Some people take 2 shots or even 1 shot. I mean, heart disease I mean, that's why many accidents has happening worldwide. I mean, you're driving, and suddenly you may have a encounter with a heart attack or chest pain, and basically so many accidents happening in the highways, freeways, etc. around the globe, especially in United States, Canada as well too. The people, are not the same people anymore. I mean, except those 120, 30,000 people that did not put a shot in the United States, they are going to rebuild the United States of America because they were smarter than others. I mean,
hang on, Mike. Hang on. Everybody, we've got 10 minutes left. 10 minutes, and we'll be going into overtime. So if you want to call in, you need to call in. If you hang up, you won't be able to after 10 minutes. 657-383-0616. Press 1 if you want to talk or join or have something you have a comment you want to share or whatever. You could be you could be screened. You have to give your name. You could be anonymous. So 657-383-0616. All right, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine, brother Gibson. Yes, we see a lot of diseases and disorder is happening around the globe, and as a result of this mRNA vaccine, and now in Europe, especially in England, they passed the laws that if you talk bad about mRNA, you will be fined and you will be jailed as a result of the talking against both vaccines, any kind of vaccine, especially mRNA and COVID-19. And so now Europe is gone mad. European people say, hell with it. We are going to talk about it every minute, every second, what we want to talk about the COVID. So, so this is happening.
Well, Europe's got a lot of problems.
That's not good. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, well, a lot of things happen over there in Europe that and they always head over this way. But I'll tell you what, the border crisis here is out of control. I mean, we see what's going on with the elections. I mean, we have 40 million undocumented people in this country, probably more, and they want these people to vote. They're trying to get these people to be able to vote. I mean, this is insane. That's why I like the voter ID law. I kind of like it,
Yeah, nobody like it. I mean, North Korea, if you put 1 inch of your leg into the North Korea, you will be taken and you will be questioned and you will sent to their FEMA camps in North Korea. But here, not everybody comes, ha, 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 cha, cha, cha. We go USA.
Yeah, well, one thing I can't understand, right? One thing I can't understand, Suzette, hang on, Mike, is that, like, for instance, these cell phones and everything, right? Like North Korea, right? They don't have cell phone factories over there, and they don't make cell phones, but they got their own special little brand of cell phones that are linked into their special internet, that their internet can't connect with the worldwide internet. And I'm just wondering why these servers or these mobile hotspots or these mobile spots, how that could be, how they could coordinate that and shut it down and control and regulate this internet, because the internet really is very difficult to control. I mean, I could put an antenna in my computer and I could basically get the internet from anywhere. I mean, so it's kind of like a radio, AM, FM radio. I mean, so I just don't understand how North Korea can control it. I got a private caller who got their hands up too.
North Korea, they have their own system that closed circuit. So it's not. I mean, everybody can talk to each other and etc., but they cannot dial it the next dial 1 whatever number after it and talk to South Korea, for example. You cannot do that.
All right, let me connect this private caller, guys, because he got his hand up there. I don't know how long he's been waiting. Go ahead, private caller. Is this Sarge?
Yeah. Hey, Brother Mike. How you doing? It's always good to hear you. You are a serious intellect, and it's good to talk to you, Joe. I couldn't get through all night. I finally said, let me see if I can get through, and voila, it finally went through. I don't know what's going on.
Really? You guys are having trouble? Huh, wow.
Yeah, man, I couldn't get through. I was dialing. It would not even ring. But I just picked it up.
Oh, boy.
And it finally
We're
rang,
getting infected.
and I could finally get through. So,
We're infected by the virus.
It's starting to spread. Yeah, that's what was happening on Robert's show for anybody that was trying to call in.
Yeah, what do you expect in Blog Talk? But anyway, look, we got 7.3 million illegal aliens, known encounters under Biden's watch. If you count the 1.8 million known gotaways, that's about 9 million people. That's bigger than New York. Just the gotaways is bigger than the population of New York. There's more illegal aliens that come in this country, population of 78 states in the Union. Now, this is coming from CPB. They reported 961,537 border encounters in the current fiscal year. That's from October through September. And if this current pace continues, it's going to break last year's record of 2,475,669 border encounters. And this is just unsustainable. It's unbelievable. These people are not the kind of immigrants who used to come in the country illegally, who are largely self-sustaining and worked and did not rely upon any form of welfare other than maybe private charity, and even not much of that. They actually did work to make either a subsistence living or even a prosperous living, but they worked. These people are coming over here because the word is out. You get bennies. They're like any other group of people anywhere in the world. They respond appropriately to incentives. They respond one way to one kind of incentive. They respond another way to a disincentive. And all we're getting now from this government, inappropriate incentives to illegally break into the country with their assistance. This has got to stop. Now, look, we're being told every day, 330,000 or 400, maybe 500,000 Russians have gone into Ukraine. Now, true, they had tanks and artillery and self-propelled artillery and ground attack aircraft. Okay, that's kind of a multiplication factor. But still, it was about 500,000 of them that have invaded Ukraine, and we got to send them billions of dollars to protect their border. Well, it kind of, on the other side, we got 10 million people under this clown that come into the country illegal. That kind of balances 500,000, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just crazy. It's got to stop. I don't know what. I'm at the point now I'm starting to say, hey, maybe we ought to consider, like, remember I told you about Operation Unthinkable with Winston Churchill? Remember that? Well, that's all I'm saying. Maybe we start thinking Operation Unthinkable. We cannot allow an invasion of this country to keep going. At the very least, we ought to be doing, or the border states ought to be doing what Governor Abbott is doing. At the least, just saying, no, we're going to protect our borders and protect our citizens and deploy our troops to do whatever we have to keep them safe and secure. And you, federal government, do what you must.
And every state should have legislation to round these people up, if they're in their state.
Well, we know that's not going to happen with rats in charge. Demon rats in charge, it'll never happen. The only way that is even conceivable is to get rid of the demon rats. They're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. It does not go along with agenda. Even the ones that might want to do it, their party leadership is so committed to this illegal alien invasion, they're going to be suppressed. Even if they know it's wrong, and if they had their way about it, they wouldn't do it. The Democrat Party leadership is just so absolutely committed to this course of action that they're just suppressed. There's nothing they can do. The demon rats have got to go. Whatever problems you got with Republicans, set it aside to get rid of this invasion. Because, look, when these kind of things come up, what do you get? You get Republicans said, okay, we got for the most part, we're going to get 95% of them going to vote for it, and you get 4 or 5 holdouts. Every single Democrat wants to keep it going. Every single one. There's just no comparison. Now, if you can get, I would prefer if we could find a viable candidate who isn't a Republican or a Democrat who would vote to stop this invasion. That would be better. But I'm sorry, right now that's magical thinking. That's not going to happen. We've got to get in people in office who will stop this invasion. It's got to be a priority along with election integrity. Those two things, as far as I'm concerned, are even more important than the economy.
Maybe.
Saving
Maybe,
America.
Sarge.
Amen, Sarge. Too. We love you. Thank you for covering exactly what we are talking before, but you covered it a little bit more, powerful, so everybody can understand.
Look. I've got a stake in this country. I shed blood for this country. I almost got killed in the service of the country. And even if I had, I'm a citizen. I'm concerned about my fellow citizens, the traditions of this country, and what this country can be for my posterity. Including that means my descendants who aren't even born yet. Those are my concerns. And what I see happen in this country, I'm seeing like a rapid motion decline of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire went slowly over 500 years. This is a rapid, precipitous decline, like a toboggan going downhill. I've never seen anything quite like it. In the course of two administrations, the Obama administration, a little bit of an interregnum with the Trump administration, and now the Biden administration. Those two administrations in which the Trump administration is sandwiched are the reason why we're here right now. I mean, they just put everything in a high gear. You had the globalists sure under Bush, but they were measured. They were somewhat cautious. They knew they couldn't proceed precipitously. They had the Mala bias to some extent. And a lot of times we could see what they were doing, like when they put that woman up there for Supreme Court Justice. That got shot down so fast, and everybody saw through that so quick. It didn't have prayer or fasting.
60 seconds, guys. 60 seconds. We're going to overtime. Sorry, 60 seconds. So if you're in the chat room, I don't know if you'll get cut off or not. So you might have to call in. So I don't know, but 60 seconds. All right, go ahead, Sarge. Sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, the Bush administration, they weren't so precipitate. They were measured. They knew they had to proceed with some kind of caution. They hadn't been hijacked by lunatic radicals. This demon rat party is just people, just infested with nutcases like Barbara Lee. Just all of a sudden raising the minimum wage to $50 an hour. Just overnight. I mean, like that wouldn't put upward pressure on every other salary in the state, which it would. So if you got entry-level jobs at $50 an hour, what are you going to do with the upper-level jobs? You got to get them $150 an hour. Yeah. It's insane. They don't think. They don't reason. They just say to themselves, what can I say that'll get the hoi polloi to vote for me and give me temporary political advantage? And I'll say whatever I have to, because after all, that's what my political masters would like us to do, like me to do, to weaken the economy and prepare the ground for their eventual World Economic Forum globalism. It's just crazy.
No, sorry. The Federal Reserve's got plenty of money. They got plenty of money. They print it up out of thin air. Why not share the wealth? They could send $60 billion over to Ukraine.
To buy a loaf of bread. They have to have a wheelbarrow to buy a loaf of bread. And you have to fill it up with cash.
I know.
And they act like it can't happen here. Like the only country in history could ever happen to was Weimar Germany. It couldn't possibly happen in the United States. All we got to do is just more magical thinking, and we can give everybody $50 an hour because that's what they need to live. You can't live on a salary less than $104,000 a year. And since you can't, we must raise the minimum wage to $50 an hour. They think like that. They actually think this works.
Well, what's the solution then, Sarge? What's the solution? Because how do we make our dollar worth anything anymore? How do we do it?
First of all, we have to banish these magical thinking nuts from public life. I don't know what it's going to take to do it. The education system sure isn't educating us why this is insane. It's not. I mean, it kind of gives them a milder version of what lunatics like this Barbara Lee says. And people have no understanding of economics, supply and demand, the invisible hand, that what Adam Smith said is how free market economies work. I mean, they seem to think or imply that essentially directed economic system with a bunch of 5-year plans and edicts from the federal government is better than a free market system where suppliers of goods and services have to compete with each other to provide a better good or service and come to a kind of a negotiation for the buyer of the good or service to please them. If you think about free market economics, it's the best one in the world because whoever is selling something has to work to please the person they're trying to sell it to. And that means that there's give and take between the buyer and the provider. It's the best system. It's organic. It is one that has naturally sprung up over thousands of years. It didn't come out of the mind of some perverse degenerate sitting up there in his parents' home in a basement in Germany in the middle of the 19th century. It did come from a self-hating man who also hated his people he was in, and he hated his family. It didn't come from that sort of psychotic mind. It developed over people having relationships with each other and bartering with each other over thousands of years. That's why it is the best. That's why you can't point to anybody who originated it. You can point to people who identified it, like Adam Smith and Hayek and Mises and other economists. They identify it, they describe it, but you cannot point to anyone who invented it because no one did. It originated out of the normal interactions and activities of human beings over generations. And that's how we got it. That's why we have it.
All right, Sarge, I want to build a back porch.
With human nature.
I want to build a back patio, Sarge.
That's why it works.
Sarge, I want to build a back patio, 8x8. Then I got to get a permit. I got to get inspected. I got to buy a permit box. I got, all these fees. The government is getting involved. The government, they got to charge. People got to charge. You got to get government out of the way. How do we do that? I got the good old boys next door reporting me. My neighbors will stitch me out. Us Americans are eating each other up.
Well,
Well,
look. What we understand about our Constitution is not free from government regulation. After all, you got the Interstate Commerce Clause that implies a measure of regulation by the government. It has to be minimal though, and only that which is within the reasoned bounds of the police power. And the police power is that power which enables laws and regulations for the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens. Within the reasonable application of that power, those are the only regulations you need. The person who builds the deck, you have an inspector, and make sure it conforms with safety regulations so it won't collapse and kill a bunch of people. That's it. You don't have unreasonable fees. You don't have undue regulation. That's it. Just what is reasonable to exercise the police power. And you're right, Joe. It has gone beyond what it should be, way beyond what it should be. Now it's simply an exercise of arbitrary government power, and that, sir, is the kind of tyranny that we're complaining about.
Yep.
So what do we do about it? Well, what do we do about it? Well, we got to educate people. People are not educated. They think magically, too. They think anything could come about because businesses are successful. They make a lot of money. And if you just put enough pressure on them, then magically they can fix whatever problems I got in my life. Businesses and government. It's magical thinking. It's not hard-headed application of reality.
How about something?
In education, it's hard to get across to people. It's hard to educate people. It really is.
How about something simple? Freedom. Just be free. Stop calling the cops for everything. Stop calling 911. Stop looking to the government for help. Stop reporting things. Just mind your business.
When people were self-reliant, they didn't need to do that so much. Increasingly, we have made children of adults. We are telling 26-year-olds they can stay with their parents and still get on their health care plan. They're treating adults like children. This sort of thing, this has to do with education. You teach people to be as self-reliant as you can teach them to be, and they won't want government. Then again, that's a paradox for the people who want more government. They want more people dependent on the government, so they'll have more power. It's a circular.
Well, I don't want to ruin my good name. I don't want to ruin my good name. I got to report my neighbor. It's just, this is how they are. I got to pay my bills on time. I got. As long as I got a job, I'm all right.
Well,
that's selfish.
They don't want people
That's
to be
how they are.
self-reliant. They don't like to. Look, okay, let's say you want to. Look, one of the things I ran afoul of when I started to raise chickens, I had to make sure I was complying with the regulations in here about how far from my house I can locate chicken coop. Now, they weren't horribly onerous regulations, but if I ran afoul of them, I could have been fined. And I was getting fresh chickens every day. When my chickens got to the age where they couldn't lay any more eggs, well, they wound up in a stew pot. It was nice, fresh chicken. It was great, you know? But the point of the matter is that as long as the regulations aren't crazy, it was basically how close to the house you can have chicken coop. Okay. And if you comply with that, there wasn't too many regulations on it beyond that. But you still had to check to see what the regulations were. In other places, it's infinitely more. It all depends on the jurisdiction where you live as to how onerous these regulations are. That's why people are fleeing to states that don't have so goddamn many. That's why they're leaving California. That's why they're leaving New York. They got 3 million people have left New York in the last 2.5 years. 3 million. That means if they don't import more illegal aliens, they're going to lose electoral power in nationwide elections. That's why they want more illegal aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're right. But, you know.
And then there's another way they managed to work this thing in. They managed to reduce the birth rate among American women. How? By telling them it's more important for them to work for a soulless corporation than to have children and raise them. Because after all, let's face it, biological reality dictates that a normal woman's reproductive life is limited in comparison to a man. It just is. Don't blame me. God made it that way. So that means they only got so many years in which they can be reproductive. And for a lot of women, it's a choice between a career or raising a children. For a lot of women, not all. Some women manage to juggle it quite well. But many women don't even want to make the choice. They're going to pick one or the other. Reproductive rate is down. 65 million abortions in the United States alone since Roe versus Wade. That means whatever children they might have had, in addition to their own lost lives and whatever children they might have had, guess who's got to make up the gap? The illegal aliens who are fecund when they come. They don't mind reproducing. They like it. Absolutely. They think it's a good idea. Like once upon a time, we used to think that was a good idea. But see, but our masters, our political masters, know that they're not going to be able to prop up their welfare state programs like Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all of those stuff unless they get more people to pay into the system. So that's part of it too. They want a serf class, they want a servant class, and they want people to pay into all these entitlement programs that are going to go belly up without more fresh people to pay into them. We can't get with our own citizens. Our own women have decided it's not good to be reproductive. It's more important to be a CEO in some soulless corporation than it is to raise your own children. And many women are taking that choice. And a lot of men are encouraging them. So why are we surprised?
I'm not.
Well, what do you think these folks start?
School for a long time.
Robert, you asked me about how they can't.
Sorry,
hang on, Mike.
Something quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
They have 4 or 5 kids, and they are on food stamps. They are on all these kind of help, and then yes, we are American citizens. We cannot have even 1 kid or at all because we cannot afford to raise 1 kid. And they can afford 4 or 5, and they are overpopulating. And then very soon, we all become minority in the United States, and they will be majority. And then we will see and then they win in every aspect of the law. They can change any laws. They can do anything they want, and they can annex Mexico to USA and Canada. North American Union is right at your door. Go ahead, please.
Thanks for tying it all together there, Brother Mike. That's a very real possibility.
Yes, because once we cannot, I mean, the balance will be is out of balance, will be, and we become weaker and weaker, and then get stronger and stronger, and the scenario will be played, and Amero would be the new money of United States, and basically everything would be one country, and become like NATO or European Union. And this is the plan of the globalists, plan of the New World Order, and that's why they keep bringing, and still we keep saying, please close it up, close the borderline, don't bring all these people, and there is a law and order. I mean, everybody wait multiple years through the process. They have to see if you have a crime or not, if you are a good citizen in your respective country before. Then maybe you pass in many areas, then you will be allowed. But here, bingo, I come from Mexico to here within less than 24 hours. I mean, that's not the answer. I mean, anybody can come. Chinese who is coming. The Afghans, Talibanis are coming in the United States. And we have seen the IRGC from Iran. They are also mixed with them. They are coming into the United States. And we have seen a lot of other terrorists coming from Beirut and, Hamas and etc. coming to the United States. Then what the hell is going to be happening? I mean, there is no law and order. I mean, of course, we have right to be screaming. We have right to be concerned. I mean, we are all are afraid for the near future what will be happening. I mean, enough is enough. But unfortunately, they play the game and over, and the borderline will be open, and nothing will be changed that much. Go ahead.
It'd be different if they wanted to bring up the rest of the world to the standard of living that typical American expects they should be able to live in. But no, see, they attack us on every front. They say that standard of living that Americans expect and to be better in every generation is actually destructive of Mother Earth and the planet. It's carbon-based. It's carbon-rich. It despoils the environment. It adds global climate change to it. So, see, they got their plans and their schemes against us are so many and so devious and interlocked in so many different ways. I mean, you really got to look upon almost every single thing you do and almost every single issue they bring up as urgent. It's got to be solved tomorrow or the earth will come to an end. You've got to look upon it as an attack on you, Western civilization, and the promises for betterment of conditions that Western civilizations pretty much always promised its people since it was promulgated. It's a complete attack on the whole thing.
Sarge, the people in the inner cities and the lower and the people that are not awake or the people that just are walking around looking for answers don't understand a word you're saying right now. They don't understand all that Western culture, all that. They don't get that. What they know? They know Taylor Swift. They know the Kansas City Chiefs. They know Kevin Durant on the basketball team. They know that, Joe, LeBron James.
Even more than that, they know Christopher Columbus was an exploiter, genocidal enslaver. Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. So did George Washington. They know that. So you got a combination of vapid, the juvenile, puerile, and on the other hand, you've got attacks on every important tradition and person that made Western civilization great by pointing out their sins rather than their virtues.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct.
Now, I'll tell you what, they might not know what I just talked about, but I tell you what, you go talk about. Do you know that Christopher Columbus was the genocidal destroyer of the Taino Indians? Oh yeah, I know that. Do you know that Thomas Jefferson raped Sally Hemings? Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah, but they don't know anything about the Louisiana Purchase. They don't know anything about the House of Purchases. They don't know anything about the the Virginia Assembly. They don't know anything about the Declaration of Independence. No. But all those things they used to attack him, they know all about that. They don't know anything about anything else, though.
Well, that's why, for instance, Robert asked me how my campaign was going. I got this direct mail, and this is one of my cards today, my postcards. It's got American flag faded in the background. It says, God help us, March 5th, Joseph A. Gibson III, North Carolina House of Representatives, District 65, God bless the Republic. And then it says, March 5th, vote, help restore our republic. And then on the bottom, I've got the Founding Fathers phrase, appeal to heaven, will you join me? And on the back, I got about the casino. It says, vote no casino, vote Joseph A. Gibson. Freedom. Hang on a second here. Freedom should not be a gamble. So, I got that little catchphrase there. And a lot of people actually. I've been getting a lot of people calling me actually, and emailing me saying that because I've been doing a direct mail. Like I said, 1,500 of them went out last week, and like I've got about a dozen calls here. Like, oh, I love that postcard. We've never seen anything like that. Like, because all these other people, they're not talking about the republic. They're not talking about restore the Constitution. They're not talking about restoring lawful government. That's what we have to be talking about. That's what the people want. I found that out. More and more now that I've been campaigning this time around. They want to hear that. People want to hear that because they're sick and tired of the corruption and the lies. They're sick and tired of hearing you're going to cut taxes. They're sick and tired of hearing about, you're going to let them have school choice. They don't give a crap about that. They want to hear about fixing this corrupt system. They want to hear about restoring lawful government. They're sick and tired of being stomped on by this federal government and the local government and being pulled over by the state trooper on the highway. They're sick and tired of it. That's what I found out.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They're really tired of this thing on the border. I'm surprised to see it get as much traction among ordinary people as it's getting, but it's definitely getting that now because thanks to the political genius, in this respect at least, of Ron DeSantis and especially Greg Abbott, it has now been brought in glaring relief to all these Democrats who thought they were immune for it as they hid behind their slogan, sanctuary city, and no human being is an illegal. Now they're being forced to face the consequences of that belief system because Governor Abbott stuck it in their face so they can't escape it. And now it's on the lips of almost every American of voting age who's even dimly aware of it, and they are now putting it face forward as the most important single issue in this campaign. And I was really surprised to see it happen. But lo and behold, it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I heard Abbott's still letting people over the border, and they're still cutting the wire down, and I heard a lot of people are still crossing.
No. According to Customs Border Patrol, encounters at the border now are at double digits. They are going to New Mexico, Arizona, and California. The numbers there are increasing. The numbers in Texas are really going down. No, it's not. They're not stopping everybody.
Sorry.
But believe me, the encounters now are in the hundreds a month rather than the thousands. And
Sarge, if I can't get in door number 1, I'll just go to door number 2. What difference does it make?
Like
you said,
they're going to Arizona. But here's the point. It worked. Look, Texas can't be responsible for Arizona, New Mexico, and California. But look, putting up the wall in Texas worked. It has almost brought illegal aliens come across the border to a screeching halt. That's why they are now using those other transit routes because they can't get in Texas. It works. All you got to get is politicians with the gumption and the will to do what is being done in Texas. And the problem will be fixed with no border budget deal, no new laws, no nothing. Just what we already have to secure the border. Plus, finally completing building the wall that Joe Biden paid contractors $140,000 a day not to build until their contract ran out.
Mm-hmm.
It's working, Joe. All we need is politicians in those other 3 states to do similar measures and have the will to do it.
Yeah, and here in New
Isn't that the story of
Mexico,
government?
Well, here in New
Robert.
Mexico, it's like Sarge was saying, they're coming over into New Mexico, and the farmers and the conservative part of the southern part of the state are raising hell about it, and the politicians are finally starting to notice.
And so things are starting to change here in New Mexico too, although not as fast as I'd like it to, but they are changing.
The problem is you have the worst governor probably in America to do what needs to be done. You got to get rid of her. She's got to go.
She has to.
I mean, we need to get a little Kristi Noem in her ass, and that's not likely. So the only other problem is to get rid of her. There's no Kristi Noem in that one. None.
Sarge, you guys are getting your freaking spirits up high. This next election, we have 40 million illegals. They're going to be voting. Trust me. You really think I don't think Trump's going to win now. I really don't. With the reports I've been getting and people I've been talking to, I don't think he's going to win. I think it's going to be a landslide.
Well, I don't think it's a certain thing. I don't think it's a certain thing. I know the capabilities for the cheat. I don't think that the mechanisms for illegal alien voting are quite in place yet. I don't think they'll have them in place for this election. Although this may be the last election we can have without remedying it, that they won't have a truly significant part in changing the tolls around. So this has got to be it. Election fraud has got to be minimized. They got to get every citizen out to the polls to vote. I don't think he's going to have less than the 74 million votes he got last time. I definitely don't believe that. He's not going to have less than 74 million votes. I don't see how Joe Biden got 81 million votes. I know he didn't. In those 6 states, they just stuffed ballot boxes to give him enough to get over the top. And look, we know that California's going to go 90% for that bastard anyway. It doesn't matter how many votes he gets. What counts is, and I don't think there's going to be any less turnout for Donald Trump this time around than last. Now, the question is, will that be enough? We'll have to see.
Press 1. Anybody who wants to join in the conversation, anybody who's on the phone line, if you guys want to talk, just press 1, and I'll bring you on. But, yeah.
I agree with you, Joe. Joe, it's not a sure thing. I'm not saying it is. I wish people would stop saying it like it is. It may seem like it, but the capacity of these Democrats to cheat is boundless. They have no capability to govern well or effectively, but they have an infinite capacity to steal and cheat. If they were good at governing as they were at stealing and cheating, I would always vote for a Democrat because they got that perfected just about.
Sarge, I have a question for you. This AI that is already controlling a lot of things, and AI is very dangerous for the election in the United States of America. So it's very highly possible that AI will steal the election. What's your comment on that, please?
Well, unfortunately, given the Constitution leaves the method of casting the vote to the state. And in every blue state where they can devise a method that will make it easier for them to cheat, they're likely to implement. Because that's what the Constitution says. Article 2 says that the legislature determine the method, the manner of election in the state. So we're stuck with those states doing what they have to do. In the red states, they got to minimize the possibility of cheating in those great big blue areas where the big cities are. Like here in Georgia, we got to worry about Fulton County and Atlanta. I'm not worried about the rest of the state of Georgia. I'm worried about Fulton County and Atlanta more than any other. And it's like that in most of these other states. The red states are going to have to control their process and to the extent that they can, bring to the attention of the feds the rottenness in the other states where they cheat. I know we got the problem just they won't do anything about it. We at least got to establish a record. We must establish the record.
We must
show AI. What's that Lorianne put in the chat room? Vigilante? What's that about?
Is AI
a
possibility to do it or not? Yes or no, please.
Can AI, again, AI has the capacity, provided who programs it, to do almost anything. So, yeah, AI has the capacity to alter the outcome of the election. And like I said, in these blue states, that's what they're going to do. Like I said, the Constitution gives them the power to determine the manner in the election. And that would include using AI. So you got to look at whoever's setting up the AI, and you got to monitor them like a hawk. You got to do Freedom of Information Act requests. You got to do. You got to have observers at the ballot boxes. You've got to ensure signature matching and integrity, a chain of custody integrity. There's all kinds of things you have to do, and it probably still won't succeed because you got judges who won't give you standing to bring a lawsuit in these various states. It's hard. This is not going to be easy.
Yes, in Iran is election coming very soon, in less than a week or 10 days. So, and the Iranian people all boycott the election of Ayatollahs. They said we don't want Ayatollahs anymore in Iran, and it's illegitimate, and we never vote for them, and we don't want their ruling anymore on Iran. So now AI will say that, 60 million Iranians, for example, vote for Ayatollahs. So it's a lie and deception because AI controls easily. So we will wait for Iran election, and we will give you the exact outcome, whether AI was able to give much more higher, numbers than the people. Maybe, I think 10 million or 15 million maybe they vote. But the rest of 80 million, they will not vote for Ayatollahs anymore. They are really sick and tired of Ayatollahs, and we don't want Ayatollahs, and world doesn't want Ayatollahs anymore, and Ayatollahs must go.
Yeah. Well, you just hit the nail on the head there, boss. It's Iran, and Iran, oddly enough, is doing what the Democrats are trying to do surreptitiously.
Listen, Sarge, listen, Joe Biden, right? Like, he goes to this black restaurant, right? I'm watching the video of it, right? And he just shows up there. I guess it's a surprise. You got all the media in the back; they're all there, so everyone knows that he's coming there, right? Where the hell are the citizens at? Go arrest the son of a gun. Arrest him. What's going on here?
I'm not going to recommend anybody trying to arrest Joe Biden with a Secret Service standing there. I mean, it's not going to happen.
When we get a prosecutor, a special prosecutor that can, who has the power then? Are we the people have the power in this country or not? What's going on? I mean, I want to see results, man. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing about it. Listen, I want to see results. Why a special prosecutor can arrest him?
Well, I don't think we can just give serious consideration to arresting the President of the United States. I mean,
why can't a special prosecutor bring him up on charges, Sarge? Why?
As much as I despise Joe Biden, even I'm going to say that's just not going to fly. Not remove him from office.
Why?
Yeah, there's a way to remove him from office. But
they did it to Trump.
Yeah, but short of a coup, they didn't do that to Trump till after he left office. This guy's in the office.
Well, technically he's not. Technically he's not. He never won. Technically,
it's not going to happen. We've got all kind of federal power for to protect him from that sort of thing, even if he deserves it.
You mean to tell me that the sheriff, the most powerful law enforcement official in the entire country, can't arrest that son of a bitch?
No, they can't.
Wow.
You can't put the executive branch. You can't put the executive branch of the federal government in jail. I mean, it's a branch of government, and it's personified in the manner of the president. You got to remember.
Why didn't they have a jail built into Capitol Hill then?
I mean, but I'm saying you can't imprison a branch of the federal government of the United States. It's personified in one person. That's the president of the United States. Not like with Congress.
So he can do whatever he wants.
And you still got hundreds of others. You still got.
So he can do whatever he wants.
You got one person.
So the president can do whatever he wants.
Well, that's where the process of impeachment comes in, because once he's impeached, then they determine whether he should be removed from office, and at that point they can recommend investigation to the DOJ for prosecution.
Okay.
That type of thing.
Okay, I see what you're.
So he's not
okay,
immune,
I got
yeah.
you then.
Yeah.
If they don't find him guilty, then yeah,
jail the
after Trump walks
executive
out.
branch of the federal government. You just can't do that. I mean,
after we impeach him, we could.
There's no executive branch when you put the president in jail. He's not there.
Right. That's why they have the process of impeachment, and then the VP takes over.
It doesn't have anything to do that he doesn't deserve it. I mean, I don't think there's any human being in this country deserves to be in prison more than that bastard Biden. The problem is that he is the executive branch of government. You got to remove him. He's got to go. He's got to be replaced with somebody else.
If I remember correctly, there was a sheriff out there during the Trump administration that had an arrest warrant out for Trump, that if he ever stepped in his county, he was going to be arrested.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, you're right.
That too, and I think if he tried to do it, there would have been some gunplay.
Right.
I know there would have been some gunplay. I'm just saying it just wouldn't have, not without gunplay. That'd be a coup. If he arrested...
Man, why didn't Trump go there, man?
That would be a coup. No, I'm just saying that would be a coup. And a coup, everything. Look, when you make doing a coup, all bets are off. I mean, it doesn't matter what the Constitution says when you're undergoing a coup.
Yeah, then we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Then you'll see the United States break up into sections, and I mean, you'll have blacks versus whites. I mean, it'll be crazy.
Well, it's kind of like declaring an insurrection or civil war. Then you don't care what the Constitution says. Only thing you're concerned about is winning and establishing.
Yeah. Well,
so,
sorry,
I mean,
no, that was North against South, though.
If you're going to stick to the Constitution, you can't put the President of the United States in jail until you remove him and have somebody else get him take his place. Because even while he's in jail, he's still the president until he's removed by constitutional means.
Yeah, no, I got you. Then I understand that. The Susan was right. Yeah, I was just jumping the emotional.
I don't blame you, man. I feel the same way. Joe, I feel the same way you do. But my feelings. After I get vent to my feelings, my brain takes over. What I understand about the Constitution takes over. I say, okay, sorry, calm down. But believe me, I think exactly the way you think. Somebody ought to arrest this motherfucker and put him away.
Yeah. I mean, you
better believe I feel that way. You better believe it.
Please a little bit tone it down, possible, my friend.
Say what? What do you say?
Tone it down
a little. He didn't hear you swear before, I guess. You know.
Oh well, I'm sorry, Joe Biden, man. Joe Biden, I swear to God, man. Joe Biden, he just, oh God, the worst president in history. Not saying he had some phony bunch of historians rank him as the 14th best president of the United States, and Trump the worst.
Yeah, no shit.
Can you believe that? Worse than Millard Fillmore? Oh, please, give me a break. Man, these people, Trump derangement syndrome, they just can't think anymore when their Trump derangement syndrome takes over.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Worse than they got Trump worse than Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, Trump lives in their brains rent free.
Man, Jimmy Carter was a better president than Joe Biden. Jimmy Carter was a better president than Joe Biden is.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
I gotta agree with that.
And you have
Jimmy
covering for
Carter
him.
at least had some measure of honesty and integrity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they use Joe Biden. I guess he had some speech impediment when he was younger, as in teenager child. I mean, obviously he cleared that up by the time he ran for Senate and tried to run for president before. He didn't have any speech impediments then, but suddenly he had a stuttering problem when he was a young man, and so when the Republicans or opposition automatically jump on him when he has gaps, it's just wrong for them to do that, to pick on him like that, because it's not anything that he can control. Well, that's not a gap when he has a total brain fart and forgets where he's at in the speech, and the freedom and the MAGA. Well, anyway.
Yeah, it's not a stuttering problem when he walks around and he shakes hands with ghosts and there's nobody on the stage with him. You know, it's not a stuttering problem when he falls up the stairs. You know.
Right. Exactly. And this whole thing with well, anyway.
I saw actually a clip on Jesse Waters tonight. You know how they've got him on the using the rear stairs at Air Force One because they're shorter.
Yeah.
Well,
and he stumbled up there.
He stumbled up those too.
Yeah. It's so pathetic.
It is, and then the
let's face it. Joe Biden's a lot more mobile than Greg Abbott is, but good Lord, Greg Abbott is infinitely more capable of being president than Joe Biden will ever be.
Well, sure. Okay, now let's compare when they compare Trump and Biden. They say that, well, Trump can't even remember what state he's in. He had twice, somewhat recently, he had misspoke as far as what state he was in. The whole thank you, Boston, or whatever it was. Anyway, but they have to, and they're not going to consider this. Of course not. They're just going to say he's going senile just as bad as or worse than Biden or whatever. But the man has been going to court. He shows up to court, then he does a rally. He's got all these things going all at once. So he's entitled to be tired. And when he does get to a rally or does a speech, and if he does forget what state he's in, he's done it twice so far that I've followed. And you can tell the man is tired. I mean, good grief, who wouldn't be? But that's not an excuse for them. He's just losing it.
Most of the time when I see Donald Trump, I see a man of tremendous robustness and energy, the kind of energy you need to have to do the job that he's doing. He has more than enough of that. He displays it consistently, and like he's human, he's not a god, so he's going to get tired. But most of the time, he displays robustness and energy. And he's always done it. Everybody who knows him does it. The only thing I'm concerned about with Donald Trump is that he picks a good vice president, not just a political measure. Yeah, the political measure has to be secondary to someone who can step in and carry forth his policies that the people are going to vote for. That's why his choice, given his age, you can't disregard it, given his age and the actuarial census realities, it's important that he make a real presidential pick who could step in and govern from day one as effectively or more so than Trump himself can. That is a critical choice for him.
And he said
I will say that.
And if he does put out his short list, and I'm just wondering why he picked Ron DeSantis.
I'm not going to worry about it. If he does that, I'm not going to worry about it.
Right. No, he did say that in a recent town hall that he's looking for a vice president that will be able to take over once his term is over and continue. But he's when he's considering his vice president, that's who he's looking for, who's basically going to be the next president. So his head's in the right place. We just got to stay on him as far as the influencing, because sometimes he can be influenced by the public as far as, pick this person, pick that person.
Yeah, make an identity pick. No, if the identity pick lines up with that criteria, great. But if it doesn't, the first criteria has got to be an effective vice president who can actually govern from the moment anything bad happens to the president. That's got to be a pick. He can't be fooling around with it. He's got to make a really solid choice. No Kamala Harris, please.
Absolutely.
No, Nikki Haley.
You mean ready to step into shit?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nikki Haley is wretched. She's a wretched woman.
Somebody with a record of competence, especially as an executive.
Mhm.
Well, Nikki Haley is not on Trump's short list for VP pick, thankfully. And he did include Ron DeSantis. I don't really know why. But he did put out his short list, and Tim Scott's one of them. Vivek Ramaswamy's one of them. Kristi Noem, I would support that. If he picks Kristi Noem for his VP pick and she accepts it, then even I, for the first time, would vote for Trump if he chooses her. I wouldn't.
Then that would leave North Dakota vulnerable.
Right.
And I think that
solid
would be a good
executive,
pick.
right? Well, I know you might politically be against DeSantis' things, and I can see why, because I am too. But as an executive, he has shown flares of competence, just as an executive. And I can understand why he would pick DeSantis, even though I don't think he will, because if he picks DeSantis, he's going to have to forego one or the other, will have to forego the electoral votes from that state because they're both residents of Florida. That doesn't make sense.
And,
it's not likely to do it.
Well, I want to be clear about that short list because in the town hall with Laura Ingraham, it was Laura Ingraham, that brought up the list that was created from voter polls and the names. That's how the names got on that list. And when she talked to Trump about it, she was saying, this is what we have as far as what the polls had showed that people want or are considering for your VP. And he said, they all sound good. But he didn't say that was his list. So, and then the press ran with it as far as Trump's short list is these people, this people, this people. But he never actually said that's my short list. He said those people do sound good, and he pointed to Tim Scott and he goes there, there's Tim Scott there, so he's a good man. But those are good names to have as far as consideration. But he didn't say, yes, this is my list. That was her that went to him and said, this is what we've got as far as people and what they've been talking about, rumors for your short list. So anyway, I just want to make that clear because I don't want to keep passing misinformation.
Yeah, but it can't be DeSantis. They're not going to forego the electoral votes from Florida because one or the other can't get them. The Constitution forbids it.
Mhm. Well, yeah, right, and not only that, but I mean, there may be other people that we don't even know he's considering.
Right.
For that position.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we can't limit him to that list, and that's why I said as far as hopefully social media won't start pressing any of those names. We want him to keep an open mind and keep it until he can determine soundly his successor, basically. We're talking about Sarge.
Yeah. Well, look, the Republican bench, though, for all the complaints we have about Republicans, and they are justified, the Republican bench compared to the Democrats is a pretty strong bench of vice presidential candidates. I mean, it's much stronger than the Democrats. So if he's got enough candidates from which to make a good choice. Like you mentioned, Kristi Noem has a proven record as a competent, steady executive. So does obviously Greg Abbott. So does, to a lesser extent, Ron DeSantis. Well, again, he's not likely to be it. Tim Scott's got no executive experience. I ain't sure about him. Vivek Ramaswamy is smart as hell and has proven executive experience. Problem for me is he's not a natural-born citizen. I'm not going to ignore that as long as there are natural-born citizen candidates. I'm not going to ignore it. I like him, but he ain't a natural-born citizen. I'm sorry. You got to meet the qualifications. He didn't meet that one. But there's a lot of good candidates out there to pick from. And you got to pick one of them.
Whatever happened to Sarah Palin?
Oh,
I'm
God.
not familiar with him.
My
Jeez,
concern with
what
him
the
choosing
fuck?
one of the governors is that
Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your fucking mind?
I just want to know what happened to her. Where'd she go?
Not far enough.
He shouldn't choose a governor because it'll leave that state vulnerable.
What?
Yeah.
I said he shouldn't choose any governor to be his VP because that will leave that state vulnerable from which he pulls that governor or tags them for VP.
Oh, that would depend upon
with
who
Kristi Noem.
That would
With
depend on
Kristi Noem, there's somebody behind her that would be able to carry that on. But
yeah,
that's good.
I wouldn't be worried too much about Wyoming. I really wouldn't.
North Dakota.
Huh?
George Bush from North Dakota.
Maybe North Dakota. Yeah. I wouldn't be too worried
No,
about that.
Kristi Noem is South Dakota.
Oh, South Dakota, okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
When you said one of the Dakotas.
I don't think South Dakota would be imperiled by it. South Dakota has got a lot of sensible voters there. They're not going to vote. Rat.
Oh yeah, they passed some good legislation there. They blocked basically the CBDC from entering their state as far as working in there. That's
They
great.
got
That's
sensible
awesome.
people in that state. Yeah, I can vote for them. No crazy
Never
rat.
locked
I ain't
out
worried about
state.
that. Not a bit.
Well, yes. Something
What
got quiet.
if he picked a Democrat? What if he picked? What would happen if he picked a Democrat VP?
Are there any with sense out there that are likely to be chosen? Think of one. Is there anybody? Robert F. Kennedy would be the closest I can think of, and he's not even running as a Democrat.
Well, I used to
And I
think,
don't necessarily like him all that much.
Dennis, what is it? Kucinich?
Yeah.
Dennis.
Dennis Kucinich?
Yes.
Well, all I can say about him is he's not insane, but he's not the kind. But he's not a Trumpian.
No, he kind of reminds me of oh gosh, now I can't think of his name. Sessions, Jeff Sessions.
Oh,
like they would
and
go.
Dennis and Ron Paul.
Oh yeah,
eye to eye on
That's
a lot of
wow.
things.
Why are you damning him with great praise?
Ron Paul.
Yeah,
Ron
Ron
Paul,
Paul and Dennis often voted the same way on a lot of stuff, and yeah, so I think he would be probably the closest choice as far as somebody on the Democrat side that would at least be, sane.
Right.
Judge Erdogan. I'd pick Judge Erdogan.
Yeah.
Engeron? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, really, seriously, I would.
All right,
want
give me your
his name. I want his name. I want his name. Hey, listen. I want his name, his reputation, and everything about him fucking trashed. Trump make him his VP choice. He's dead.
You mean his own party would fall on him like jackals?
And the media and everybody.
Yeah, well, I don't think he would.
They would dig. They would dig up all the dirt on him that Trump is not allowed to present in court against him as a jurist.
Yeah, even if they had to make it all up.
That's right.
Well, they do that anyway. They don't need much excuse to make things up. I mean, look at the whole Russia.
I would say Fat Fannie Willis would be a good one too, but from the latest I've heard right now is she may be sitting in a jail cell.
Oh, she's perjured herself. There's no doubt about it. They got the phone records to show they're both liars, and they both perjured themselves.
Really?
About it. Unless, of course,
yes.
You're going to believe that somebody was taking Nathan Wade's cell phone, they took it from him, and went over and texted messages to her, and went over the house like 35 or 40 times, and left the phone in the house overnight. That's what you're going to have to believe that those records don't support what he was doing. He walked into a perjury trap. Trump's lawyer, that guy named Sandow, asked him if there are any phone records that show you were in intimate contact or tend to show that you were in intimate contact with Fannie Willis before November of 2021. Would those phone records be incorrect? And he said, and Nathan Wade answered, if they show that, then yes, sir. He walked right into a perjury trap. He didn't think they had his phone records. And when the lawyer asked him that question, he had the records. Remember, they don't ask a question they don't know the answer to. He walked right into it, wide open.
And Fannie did too. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that's on the phone, that the body count on the phone record. they've got 2,000 phone calls to her, and
phone calls.
12,000 texts.
Yes, and 40 incidents of overnight visits to the residence where the phone was there for an overnight period. 25 to 30 incidents, something like that. Doesn't.
You know, there wasn't any that I heard so far with any overnighters. But you know, when you show up at midnight and you leave the place at 4 a.m., you know that there was no being slept with. That's for sure.
There was a little Fanny was getting hit.
Booty call! Booty call! Hey, look, let me tell you what they were saying. They were saying that if he came over there, it was only because they were working on the case together. Well, how come nobody else got invited over there to work on the case? Just him.
Right. Bouquet call. That's what I say. Bouquet. All day long.
It's beautiful.
However, did you hear the other issue that came up? Well, I don't know if it was on the news or not, but the judge in the case right now,
McAfee.
They've got him donating campaign funds to Fani. They got him at donating to her cause when she was running for DA.
Well, here's the thing. Now, I want to put in context. I don't want to be like the rats. I like to tell the whole story as much as I understand it. Now, according to the records, he only gave $150. But here's the problem. He was supposed to have disclosed that information so the defendants could make a determination whether they believe that amounted to a conflict of interest on his part. And the problem for him is he didn't disclose it. $150 in and of itself would not be dispositive. The problem is he didn't tell it. He had an obligation to disclose that to the defense. He didn't.
Yep.
So everybody might be tainted in this thing to some degree or other.
Well, it is Fulton County.
I damn sure am. Damn sure am. But I love it. I mean, I just love this. I mean, I got to admit, I'm enjoying this immensely. Soap opera and politics and corruption and scandal and meaningful. Yeah. It's all meaningful. I love it.
But have you noticed how the one day it was all over the news? I mean, the courtroom drama was immense, but suddenly it's disappeared from sight on the media. I can't hardly believe that myself. Something's up.
The internet's covering the hell out of it, but the mainstream media says, "Uh-oh."
Who is?
And you got to admit, man, you got to love this. The timing of the reveal of this guy's book about the dynamic, courageous prosecutor in Fulton County, tough, determined, relentless to get Donald Trump. Boy, I mean, you could not imagine worse timing for this book to come out. Right on the eve of its unveiling, all this stuff about Fani started coming out. And David Isikoff, the author, still tried to salvage something out of it. It was just too rich, too funny. Schadenfreude is a biatch.
Yeah.
Well, like you said,
ball in Colorado and Utah, but it's no threat. And of course, it's not a threat because it's a distraction, so that way it could take over the Bonnie Willis and all these other cases that are being actually turned on their nose. So follow the bouncing ball.
I mean, unprecedented in the history of New York State. The AP, hardly a Trump-friendly enterprise, the Associated Press, did a study of civil fraud cases over the last 90 years. They cannot find a single case in all of that study, out of all the major civil fraud cases involving damages of over $1 million, they cannot find anything comparable to what happened to Donald Trump, where there was no victim with any provable or discernible damage. They could not find one. And they could not find one judgment anywhere, even adjusted for inflation, anywhere having what was given to Donald Trump. In all of those civil cases involving that much money or over $1 million judgment, again, even adjusted for inflation, nothing even comparable. No one in the history of New York State has ever been charged with a fraud when there wasn't a victim complaining about a specific damage. And in fact, you had people on the stand testifying, like the representative from Deutsche Bank, talking about how pleased they were with their relationship with Donald Trump and how happy they'd be to undergo another loan with him. We know what this is. We can see it. Everybody can see it. The idea was to tank Donald Trump before the election and nothing more. Nothing else. Nothing else. That's it. And the American people are responding the way they're responding because they see it too. All prosecutions must be seen as just. People do not see any of this that's happening to Donald Trump as being just.
Of course not. If they were just, then the American people would be standing there yelling and screaming to get it done.
They haven't got enough Antifas to do that. Because that's the only people they'd be able to drum up for that kind of case. Because you notice there aren't any crowds standing outside New York doing that. No, there's not people saying lock him up, lock him up. No, the American people see this for even Donald Trump's enemies see this as unjust. You got a lot of people just nervous about what the state of New York might do next. They're nervous about this. That's why they had to have the governor get up there and try to say, oh, it's only applies to Donald Trump. It won't apply to anybody else. Oh, really? Selective prosecution, have we must? My God, so corrupt. It is so corrupt. It's like the Soviet Union, man. Authoritarian Russia is as publicly bad as this.
Well, I think it has to be considered that in the past, that's the Democrat playbook. When Obama was president and even still under Biden and even under the Clinton administration, the playbook is to do, even though they know it's unconstitutional, to pass regulation or to unilaterally inflict regulations and policies through the EPA and all their other agencies if Congress won't pass it, or executive orders or whatever. They know once they get it through and put it in operation, okay, so take it to court, Republicans take it to court, court's going to find it unconstitutional, and they know this already, but the damage is done. All the court can do is reverse it or ask Congress to rewrite it or whatever it is. But as far as what's already been done can't be undone. And so that continues. And same with Donald Trump. They knew that they've got butt kissed for these cases, basically, and that Donald Trump will have to appeal it. And that's going to cost him more attorney's fees. And so basically, in a sense, it is slowing him down. They knew that they're not going to be able to put him in jail for these, made-up charges, basically, these ridiculous charges. They're so blatant and obvious that they're not actual charges that could apply to anybody, really, especially the real estate one in New York. But that's not the point. The point is they know that he's going to appeal it, of course, because that's $355 million of his assets, and plus 9% interest rate per day. And so, of course, he's going to appeal it. Well, now he's got to spend more money to do that. He's got to get a bond in order to put that charge, or basically that what they told him he had to pay, that $355 million, and to put that on hold. And so that's going to cost him, even though he'll get that back once the verdict is overturned. but nevertheless, it's tying him up in court until November and costing him more money. So that is basically the idea, is, keep indicting him for stupid stuff and blatantly, finding him guilty, and when he wasn't, on purpose, because they'll reverse it. I mean, the way they had treated, what's her name, Alba, and George Engron, and telling her to sit down and shut up, basically, anytime she had an objection or anything, and then he would overrule, and that's enough, hearing from you. I mean, he was straight just rude and couldn't object to squat, and these cases, and that shows in the court recordings, and it's like, oh my God. I mean, that was just straight, just sit there and take it. And I don't want to hear anything from the defense. And then he had already ruled before that had even been heard. So he knew that Trump would appeal it, and he's been appealing these things left and right, and, having some success with some of them, but, in others, Supreme Court is still deciding, and in other court cases they're still deciding. But nevertheless, they're accomplishing their goal, and that's to tie him up and basically spend his money in court. That's my thought.
And then you got the commissar, Letitia James, slavering over the thought of seizing his assets. Oh, God, I got $354 million of his money to redistribute to your cronies, probably. I mean, these people are just so Soviet. They truly are. I mean, she's just salivating like the pig dog she is, just to get at his. I mean, she's useless, other than to be a functionary for the deep state. She's done no good whatsoever for the people of New York in her jurisdiction as top law enforcement officer of city state. She's gone after Trump. She campaigned to go after Trump. That was purely unethical. She should have been hauled in a righteous state. She would have been hauled up on ethical charges for doing so, but she gets off scot-free. It ain't a righteous state. It's a dictatorate. I mean, I swear, these cannot be much worse than they are without actually getting into real de facto tyranny. I guess it is de facto tyranny. I guess the next step is the jure tyranny for them.
Well, here's the question I have on all of this. If there was no complaint of fraud to begin with from either party, State of New York went ahead with an investigation into Trump financing and finances and stuff. When and where in the law in the state of New York gives the state of New York the authority to be the arbiter of a assessment or appraisal of properties for this case? You know, they appraised everything much lower than what Donald Trump did, and much lower than what the banks themselves, the lenders, did. When did New York when did the state become the official, you have to follow our appraisal system in our state?
Because of the way the law is constructed, and because of the fact that they did use an official assessment, but it was based upon a tax assessment, which is never what the market value of the property is. That's how they were able to get away with it, at least to the extent they have gotten away with it thus far.
Well, then, you know, the tax appraisal assessment system in New York is completely fucked up. You know,
it's like it is. That's the
they
way it is
could,
in
the state of New York can get a whole hell of a lot more taxes if they use market value for tax assessment.
Because the citizens would revolt. That's why they don't. That's why it's so artificially lower. But here's the problem. New York State used consumer law that was intended, as its authors stated, to protect consumers from financial institutions, not financial institutions from consumers. They just inverted the intention of the law. Everything about this thing's perverted. Everything. It was a vehicle to get Trump. Nothing more, nothing less.
It's a vehicle with the intent of getting Trump, but not getting Trump.
Whatever purpose they wanted to serve, that's what it's doing. But it ain't got a damn thing to do with the law. One thing for certain. It has nothing whatsoever to do with the law, fidelity to the law, trying to protect the people of New York. All that Donald Trump's transactions did was to enrich the people who involved in it with him, created thousands of jobs, hundreds if not thousands of jobs, eventually got the state of New York more tax money, made the skyline of New York more beautiful. There was nothing about it that harmed anyone. It only benefited all of the parties involved in it. What it didn't provide was political advantage for the utterly corrupt and tyrannical Letitia James and her political ambitions in the state of New York. That is the only thing it didn't do. As far as she was concerned, that was the ultimate fraud and damage.
Yep.
And we got a country governed by people like this all over the place. Like that crazy woman in Maine, that Secretary of State, on her own one person decided Section 3 of the 14th Amendment was self-executing, and she was going to take it onto herself to determine he had engaged in insurrection, despite the fact that Section 5 of that amendment says Congress has the power to enforce it by appropriate legislation, and they did. They came up with a method of determining who has engaged in insurrection and what the penalties for that are. I guess they stopped reading after Section 3. Section 5, apparently, according to them, isn't in the Constitution. People are sick.
I guess they stopped reading that. It says we can alter or abolish the government, too.
Well, that's in the Declaration, but I appreciate your sentiment. I mean, that's in the Declaration.
It's one of my favorite parts. It's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. I like it. I like its rather elegant language. I like it, too. I do like the elegant language of the Declaration. It is a beautiful written document.
Not to mention she's meddling in federal. They have control over state, and that means basically they're state legislators, senators. Not federal. They're supposed to be separate.
Yeah.
I like the state legislators.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like the state legislators in North Carolina. They can arrest people, arrest judges even, step them down.
Well, that's the beauty of the federalism system there, Joe. See, that's the beauty about federalism. You don't have cookie-cutter states. I mean, they all got their individual quirks and laws and patterns, and we got 50 states that should be able to provide a laboratory experiment to see what works best so other states decide to adopt or not adopt the things that do. That's the beauty about federalism. They're not all alike. A lot of people complain about it. In some respects, they should be. That's why they set up the thing about interstate commerce and all that to prevent states from setting up roadblocks and checkpoints and making people pay duties on coming in the state. But in most other respects that the Constitution does not prohibit to them, they can experiment in any damn thing they want, and they should. And the rest of the country can look at it and see how well it works. It's just beautiful. But they don't like that scheme. These globalists don't like that. They want everything to be cookie cutter, and they want everything to be centrally determined by people who know better than everybody else. They don't like federalism one bit.
Well, this one here, I was reading. I don't know if you must have missed it, Sarge, when I was reading some of the warrant that they came out with back in 2010. The de jure grand juries of the people of the United States of America that assembled back then as the guardians of free republics, and that's what we were talking about earlier. And that's the only way that they found lawfully to restore our republic and Constitution. That you seem to disagree with me about the 14th Amendment.